Somewhere beyond the recesses of time and space, two podcasters are set adrift in a machine, picking up transmissions of movies that are forgotten but not gone.
Welcome to Movie Memory Machine, the only podcast about forgotten movies that says you gotta fight for your right to have a healthy, productive community who looks out for each other.
I get down to that song all the time.
I am your host, Landon Solano, joined always by my co-host, Truman Caps. Truman, it's good to see you.
Landon, it's good to be seen. It sounded more like you were introducing me for like a pro wrestling event than any kind of like superhero thing.
When he calls Meteor Man out for the end of the movie, it is kind of like he's calling him out for a wrestling match.
It is pretty pro wrestling oriented. You know, it calls back, of course, as we've discussed so many times, to the original Spider-Man movie where the first thing he does with his superpowers is be a pro wrestler, which big mood.
It's real. It's real.
It's a real thing. And the pro wrestling in that movie is an authentic form of combat. They do not know who's going to win and advance.
Truman, I got an important question for you today.
Landon, I'm all ears.
Okay, are you ready for this? Where do you store your superpower giving meteor fragment? Do you also use a coffee tin?
I am trying to think of, what is the section at the Container Store? Because they have a container for everything there.
They do. Yes.
What's the set of nesting boxes for your meteorite that is at different sizes? Because I believe the meteor shrinks throughout the movie.
It is inconsistent. That is correct.
It seems to be getting small. So because coffee cans are kind of a uniform size, I would want multiple that I can kind of work my way down with my meteor.
Like a nesting thing.
Yeah, Russian nesting meteors.
Here's the problem with that. I like where your mind was at, and I'm going to tell you that's exactly where my head was at when I bought nesting salad bowls. Here's the reality of the nesting salad bowl.
Yeah,
is that when you are using one of the middle-sized salad bowls, you suddenly now have 2 stacks of salad bowls because they don't fit together very well. Versus having just one stackable salad bowl. So it's making more of a mess than it's solving.
You're sort of incentivized, really, to not use one of the bowls. There's like one bowl that is purely functional just to make the nest work properly.
Yeah, it's like one bowl is the bowl to hold the bowls. And it serves no other purpose besides that.
Well, I was going to suggest that you keep your meteorite in your nesting salad bowls, but I guess once it gets to medium size, you're going to have to find a coffee can for it or something like that.
I think because it's a changing size throughout this movie, I get the instinct of wanting it to be a stackable solution.
Yeah.
I think really it needs to be something more like one of those vacuum seal bags that you put your summer clothes in at the winter months.
Oh, or like or like the way that you vacuum seal meat to sous vide it. You're sous videing your meat really. I think also this is the first of many times in this episode we're going to have to check our privilege, because the character who is keeping the meteor in a coffee can, he doesn't have resources. He doesn't have access to funds to go and find a bespoke meteor storage solution. He's just this is a homeless man. I don't remember who plays him, but I'm sure he's a super cool guy with just a spotless record in every regard. But he has to kind of improvise, and I think I choose to be happy for him that the meteor is the perfect size to fit the coffee can he already has. How satisfying would that be? Wouldn't you love that?
That is the precise thing that comic books would do to retrofit sequels into or future series into. Is like, maybe it didn't, and he chipped off other fragments of the meteor that's going to resurface in future installments of Meteor Man.
He's like, what am I going to do? Find a larger piece of garbage container to fit the meteor in? Nah, I'm going to whittle it down. I really am married to this coffee can idea. That's going to be the thing for me. I think that is the low-key joy of watching a superhero movie from like the 90s or the early 2000s, where they will kind of just like, there's all these opportunities where sequel stuff or spin-off stuff could be seeded or would be seeded. Like, you know that today, Meteor Man, they're going to show him chipping bits off the meteor so he can fit it in the coffee can, and then, oh, the pieces of meteor are on a truck and going to another city, and like it's going to be a lead-in for some other movie that we see in the mid-credits sequence. Here, it's just like, it's just whatever. It's just stuff kind of happens. It's self-contained to one movie. It's not about anything broader than the events of the one movie.
Yes, that's true. And it was refreshing, and maybe why I responded to that so deeply in 2025 when I have universe fatigue. Both in terms of cinematic universes and the literal one we live in.
Yes, it's an exhausting universe. And does that also extend to the TV series Steven universe? You're like, no more of that shit.
Yes. Only because it served a purpose in my life at a time and place, and I don't need to revisit it. But I love it for what it was when it was.
You've taken it and you've put it in a coffee can and put it up on your shelf, and you don't need it anymore.
Nope. It's firmly stored.
Can I say something else that'll just blow up the runtime of this episode? One day, folks, I promise we'll get to talking about what this episode's about. I don't really know that many people who get their coffee in cans anymore. You know, it's do you
do the reusable pods?
Well, I mean, my friends at the Nespresso Corporation tell me that when I mail the pods back to them, they get recycled. I have my doubts, but I do it anyway.
At least you go through the process. You go through the motions, whether or not it's fucking real or not.
I believe in
you can get the, little reusable cups that you can put your own grounds into.
Oh, no, I don't do that. I mean, what does your coffee come from? What container do you purchase it in?
I am a snooty little asshole when it comes to coffee, and I have to grind my own beans.
Okay.
So I grind my own beans. I get whole bean coffee. I got a coffee grinder. I love the smell of fresh ground coffee in the morning. So I use a French press.
Okay.
And ground my own beans, put the beans in the French press, and then drink the coffee from the French press.
What do the beans come in? What container do the beans come in?
Okay. So I will say, to the point you were making earlier, the beans that I get now, and I'm thankful that I'm in the position that I'm in.
Oh, okay. Checking privilege.
Well, exactly. They come in like a foil, sealed bag.
Okay, you're a bag boy.
That said, when I go to Costco and I don't have money, I look at that Folgers tin and go, that's all I can afford this month.
Okay.
So that gives credence to what you're suggesting.
Well, okay, well that the coffee can is the symbol of the unheard, the common man who doesn't have the money. I was mainly just reflecting on the fact that I just don't see that many coffee cans out in the wild anymore. But maybe I'm telling on myself since I go to so many high society functions and mansions.
You
and
your
such.
Austere neighborhoods that you live in.
Yes, I know exactly. Up here we're all just drinking our Nespresso pods and just chucking them right back out the window. We don't even care about the environment.
Those Nespresso pods you send back and go directly back to George Clooney.
If dealing with the Nespresso pods is keeping him from directing another movie, then I need to start drinking like 6 cups a day.
Oh, well, let's talk about the movie that we're here to talk about.
We're on a good run with the coffee stuff, though, but okay.
Today, the machine has made us watch The Meteor Man from 1993. This is the oldest film we've ever done. And Truman's 6-issue Marvel Limited Series Synopsis is available at comic stores today. Truman, give us a little taste of what that's like.
Yeah, and they're all going to be really reasonably priced too, so it won't bother you to have to buy all 6. Mild-mannered, cowardly substitute teacher Jefferson Reed, played by Robert Townsend, has spent his life running away from every fight. But all that changes when he gets hit by a meteor that gives him superpowers. With help from his parents, played by Marla Gibbs and Robert Guillaume, and his eccentric bald neighbor Earnest, played by James Earl Jones, Reed takes on the superhero persona of Meteor Man. Using his powers of flight, invincibility, and the ability to talk to dogs, Reed rallies his community and starts cleaning up his inner-city neighborhood, and comes into conflict with a powerful gang of crack dealers called the Golden Lords. And one of the main Golden Lords is played by Don Cheadle. I couldn't do the synopsis and not credit my boy Don Cheadle.
I forgot Don Cheadle was in this movie. When I watched it, and I think I watched it before you did, I was just like, "Oh, Truman's got a little present coming for him. He doesn't even know."
God, the best possible present is Don Cheadle being in something. We've been watching the short-lived spin-off of the Golden Girls, The Golden Palace, recently, where B. Arthur had left the show, and they're like, who could possibly replace B. Arthur and hold their own with the Golden Girls? Don Cheadle. And it's really just amazing seeing a young Don Cheadle toe-to-toe with Sophia Petrillo.
Is there a shared universe, at the risk of completely undoing what I said at the beginning of this episode? Who runs the Golden Palace? Is it the Golden Lords?
Oh shit. He goes into like witness protection or something after the events of the movie, and he, I'm gonna move to Miami. I'm just gonna, hang out with 3 eccentric white ladies. One of them's really horny.
Who would ever think to look for him there?
He has some pretty intense fits on that show, but nothing on the level of what the Golden Lords wear in this movie.
So I just wanna we're gonna do a full rundown of the cast later, because this is a stacked cast. This might be, of the stacked casts we've done, the stackedest cast ever.
There are some real shocks and surprises in terms of who's in this movie, and people you wouldn't necessarily think of as people being in movies.
Yes, but let's just talk real quick. Written, directed by Robert Townsend.
Yep.
Cinematographer by John A. Alonzo, best known for Chinatown and Scarface.
What? I guess, he does a really good job of making movies that sort of capture the deep-seated corruption at the heart of the American city. And Meteor Man, I think, goes toe-to-toe with Chinatown in that regard.
I also want to mention our composer, Cliff Idleman, who, in addition to doing things like Star Trek: The Undiscovered Country, did a little film called He's Just Not That Into You.
Oh. Okay, now here's what's funny about that, is that a lot of times during this movie I was like, this score actually is doing it for me. I'm kind of getting turned up to this music. It's pretty good.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And I would say the same about the cinematography. There are a couple of shots where I'm just like, you could lift this out of this movie and it would stand toe-to-toe with like the prestige Hollywood dramas. I totally agree, which is also funny to get this really good music behind certain scenes in the movie which are just objectively ridiculous, but to have this score that's kind of soaring and uplifting. I want to quickly jump back to John A. Alonzo for just a moment, if I can talk about a certain period in his life. 1992, John A. Alonzo, cinematographer of Chinatown, Scarface, other great films. He is the cinematographer for the film Cool World, the horny knockoff of Who Framed Roger Rabbit, which is a whole film. Next movie, Meteor Man, 1993. And then 1994, his next movie after that, Clifford, the movie that we talk about every episode for some reason. It's just an amazing run of films for this accomplished DP. Yeah, agreed. And, I don't think people talk about a movie like Clifford or today's film in terms of its cinematography, but, this is exactly, I was 11 when this came out, and the dredge that would come out that, in the family/children's film world at this time was just like, I don't know, kids are stupid, just speed up the film a little bit, and like, we don't have to put much time into the sets or the lighting, and like, the reason films like this film and Clifford and, you know, a number of other ones stick out to me and like imprinted on me when I was a kid, I think isn't, you know, entirely due to the cinematography, but the fact that they gave it a little bit of thought, and brought in someone who actually had technical skill to tell a story dramatically and visually. Like, it does add something to it.
Yes, this movie really feels like a movie that someone gave a shit about. And the movie has certain failings and shortcomings, but there's a lot of really interesting stuff going on in this movie. And I think that just really interesting, weird movies that we attached ourselves to in the 90s, I think what we were really vibing off of more than anything was like, someone really put a lot of passion into what's going on here, and that comes through in the way that the movie feels and looks and acts.
Yeah. I hate to say it, but, you know, obviously Clifford wouldn't be made today. This movie also, in its current form, would not be made today.
Yeah.
It would be over-curated. You know, the fact that this can just kind of be the brainchild of one really passionate, incredibly talented filmmaker, and getting the buy-in from all of these talented people for like a one-day cameo, just to give it a little like texture, is like, it's a product of its era, and something that I kind of miss. I'm not going to be that guy that's like, oh, back in my day, but it just couldn't exist now, and that's kind of sad.
Yeah, there's just a lot of ways that this kind of superhero movie couldn't exist now, and you know, not saying everything was better when we were kids. That's definitely not the case at all. I'm just saying I think we feel a certain way about it.
Yeah, well, and also, like, and we'll get to this in more depth in the conversation. This is also, you know, a product of its time, but, you know, a reflection of its time. So, like, I don't think there would be passion to make this movie nowadays because it's engaging with a completely different ecosystem than when it was released.
100%. I'm going to withhold further comment until we get into it.
Great.
Okay, great.
Well, then let's elucidate a little bit further about your previous experience with this.
Just whipping out $10 words for Meteor Man. No idea about this movie. I was not aware of it at all. This is not a movie that I saw growing up. It's not a movie that I was really familiar with until the machine gave it to us. And when the machine was first kind of rumbling about Meteor Man, I was like, oh yeah, Adventures of Pluto Nash. And the machine was like, no, different thing. So I didn't know at all. So did you see this in theaters? Or was this video?
I have really been racking my brain as to whether I saw this in theaters. I am usually incredibly good that, like, I have a weird, like, photographic memory for seeing things in theaters. Like, I know who I saw it with, what theater I saw it in, where I was sitting in the theater.
Wow.
For some reason, that stuff burns in my brain.
Wow.
But I can't, the fact that I can't remember for this one, I'm thinking maybe I didn't. Like, I remember where I saw and sat and who I saw Nightmare Before Christmas with. So,
and
like,
who were they?
Family, friends, the Prices. We were in Canton. We sat kind of in the middle left-hand side of the theater.
Okay. Wait, how many rows from the back? Like, how many?
Well, I can't get that specific with it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you actually remembered these things, Landon. Seems like you're overselling your superpowers a little bit. You got to touch that meteor to charge him back up.
I will say, out in the lobby, they had the scale models of all the figures that you can look at, so it was cool to, like, get terrified of the boogeyman and then go outside and actually see how the puppet was made.
Did that make him less terrifying, realizing you were so much larger than he was? You could, like, smush him. Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Good for you, man.
So I'm going to say I didn't see this in theaters because I don't have the memory of it. That's not to say it's not true, because memory fails us, but
kind of the point of the podcast, really.
I've been trying to really think about how to phrase this. I saw this movie as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
A lot.
Yeah.
And seeing it now, I think it's possible to say that this movie significantly contributed to shaping my worldview.
Wow.
That this is a seminal film in my upbringing.
Okay. Okay. In what way? Like, how did it form you?
You know, I grew up in the suburbs of Detroit,
Mm-hmm.
white suburbs of Detroit, and it was showing me. I mean, I was exposed to a lot of things like In Living Color and Martin and Living Single. Like, I was kind of in that entertainment world.
Yeah.
And so I will say at the time, like, no one was talking to me about race.
No, sure.
But I was being exposed to these different things and these different, representations.
Yeah.
And so what I took away from this film, and like the sense memories watching it as an adult, was about community.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't about the racial part of it, which is 100% there in the intention of the film.
Yeah.
But just James Earl Jones at a handful of moments in this movie, when I saw him, I'm just like, oh, why am I so deeply overwhelmed right this second as a fucking 43-year-old adult? And it was because it was tapping into learning that feeling for the first time as a kid. And I'm like, oh shit, this is expressing a really complex like shame, watching shame over not standing up for others. Like, I hadn't seen that as an 11-year-old. And so watching here, I'm just like, this movie, I think, is more important to my upbringing than I realized.
That is really beautiful. I watching this for the first time was really surprised at the breadth of really deep, character-driven feeling and emotion that's going on in this superhero comedy movie that Robert Townsend himself admits is intended for children. It's really it's a very interesting mix of things that you would not see in a movie of this genre today. Then that is beautiful that it had such a profound effect on you at a young age, and that it made you who you are.
Yeah, and it like made me just really, I think I love this movie. Like, I think it's easy for me to say that I can comfortably say moving forward, like, yeah, Meteor Man means something to me.
Oh, Meteor means something. Did you did you see the scene where he grows the garden in a vacant lot full of gigantic vegetables, and you were like, I'm not going to eat meat. I'm only going to eat these delicious-looking huge vegetables. Was that like part of you becoming a vegetarian?
No. It wasn't. At least consciously. I don't know. Maybe subconsciously, like something in the back of my head was triggered by that. I don't know.
Superhero comics retcon things all the time, dude. You can just say that it was now, and that'll be your origin story.
All right. I still haven't had one of those gigantic pumpkins, so
I do love that when he's grown the massive garden, the first thing we see people in the community taking out are pumpkins. It's like, I have no fucking idea what to do with a pumpkin, and I cook a decent amount, but I don't... What am I gonna do with a pumpkin? Roast the seeds? That's not a meal.
So I have more kind of personal reflections that I think will come out in the main episode, but...
Seems like they will.
I was worried about overstating the impact this movie had on me, but I think I can't really. I think it's undeniable that this movie really affected me.
Yeah, it certainly seems like it. Well, so how many other people did this movie affect when it came out in theaters?
Thank you for the segue, sir.
I finally learned the format of the show after all these years.
Well, okay, this movie was released on August 6, 1993 by Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer. Golden Lords have taken over MGM Studios.
Damn it, they're everywhere. The Golden Lords have their fingers in so many pies. The hotel industry, the movie business, crack, obviously.
Okay, so for 1993, a black male lead-led superhero movie intended for young audiences. How many theaters do you think they gamble putting this into?
1,200 theaters?
You're overshooting a little bit, but
1,100?
I'll give it to you. It's 1,060.
Wow.
Yeah, it had roughly a $20 million budget, which is not nothing for 1993, especially for this type of film.
Yeah.
The speculative marketing for this, I'm going to go on the low side. I'm going to say maybe $5 million.
Yeah.
The only reason that I'm going even that high is that they got kind of creative with their marketing on this one. They had, the one poster.
Yes.
I'm sure they had TV spots and movie trailers, or a movie trailer. But they actually looped in Marvel to do a 6-issue limited series.
Yeah, I
where
saw that.
Usually for these sorts of things, when you get like movie tie-ins, you'll have it's just like its own standalone thing. Your Planet of the Apes, your Godzillas, your what have yous, your Conans. What makes this unique is that Marvel was like, not only will we buy in, we're going to cross-pollinate it with our actual characters. So in that 6-issue series, he spends time with Spider-Man.
Wow.
Very 90s character called Night Thrasher, who rides a skateboard.
Everything about that is perfect. Give me Night Thrasher right now.
And so that makes it a little bit unique. And that obviously didn't cost nothing. So
another thing that just would not happen today. Like, hey, I've dreamed up my own individual independent superhero. Hey, Marvel, just write him into the continuity of a bunch of your other characters. Like, IP is whatever. It doesn't matter. Beautiful.
Yeah, I don't know that they did that. I don't know that he's in the Spider-Man continuity, but Spider-Man is in his continuity.
I just feel like now the way that just superhero characters work, it's almost like they may as well be real life celebrities, and you have to like negotiate with Spider-Man's agent for Spider-Man to show up in your other comic.
Yeah. So I'm giving that $5 million speculative. I'm going to say that's
Sure.
$25 million total.
Yeah.
So on a $25 million budget, where do you think this falls in the top 10 box office? Do you think it cracks the top 10?
I think it cracks it, but on the low end. Is this number 5?
Lower. It's number 9.
Oh, number 9. Oh, no, not in Simone territory. That's unfortunate for Meteor Man.
And the thing is, as we've talked about before, the further back in time you go, the less accurate and robust the data is.
Sure.
So I don't have any data about how long this was in theaters. It fell out of the top 10 after its first week, so I don't know anything more than what it grossed in its opening weekend, which was $2,600,000.
Oof.
And what it grossed total domestically, which was $8 million.
Yeah.
Was not released internationally, so its total box office take was $8 million.
So, didn't do great, but I would say also opening on a kind of limited number of screens. I mean, I don't know that this movie, if it went really wide release, necessarily would. I don't think it would have been profitable even then. I mean,
well, I got more news for you.
Oh, okay.
Did you notice that there was something missing from my numbers there?
Oh, you something missing?
The rundown that we usually do.
Oh, yeah. Well, you didn't talk about the top 5 at the box office, certainly.
That's correct.
Okay.
Want to hear what this was coming out against?
Yes, actually, I do.
Okay. On the weekend of August 6, 1993, and you go to the theaters, you could go see in the first week of its release, The Fugitive.
Oh, shit.
Also, number 2 is Rising Sun. That's a Sean Connery movie.
Oh, I know.
Number 3, In the Line of Fire. So you're going up against Harrison Ford, Clint Eastwood, Sean Connery.
Tommy Lee Jones in there, too.
Yeah. Your main source of competition comes in at number 4, which is Free Willy.
Oh, God. Okay.
And coming in at number... I'm going to do the whole fucking top 10 today.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 5, Jurassic Park.
Oh, my God. Wait, how long had that been in theaters? Do you even know?
9 weeks.
9 weeks. Okay. Yeah, wow.
Coming in at number 6, Tom Cruise with The Firm.
Okay. Yeah, John Grisham adaptation.
Yep.
Not as good as Skipping Christmas, obviously, but...
Coming in at number 7, Mel Brooks's Robin Hood Men in Tights.
Oh, my God.
Coming in at number 8, Tom Hanks in Sleepless in Seattle.
And do you know how long that had been in theaters at that point?
7 weeks.
Wow. It's just like an entire wall of the video store is out at this particular time. And am I responding to this like, oh my God, those are all seminal historic movies? Or am I responding to that because I was a child in the 90s and they feel seminal and historic to me?
No, I think they're seminal and historic. This is a crazy weekend. Or time to be going to the movies. And I just want to finish it out by saying number 10 in its third week beats this out. And I want to mention this because it becomes part of the conversation later, is Poetic Justice. Tupac, Janet Jackson, I want to say. Kind of romantic drama.
Okay. Interesting.
No, it's Janet. Oh, yeah. Well, Janet Jackson and Billy Zane.
Oh, Janet
and
Jackson.
Tupac's in it. Yeah, Tupac's
Yeah.
in it.
Okay. Yeah. Mixing up Tupac and Billy Zane is a pretty egregious factual error, even by the standards of this show.
Yeah. So, what a wild time that you could. And I feel like I saw most of those in the theater, though I will say to this day I've never seen Free Willy.
Yeah, wow, okay, I don't think I've seen Free Willy either. Do we want to just stay pure forever, get each other Free Willy purity rings? I feel like trying to release your movie in theaters at this particular point in time is kind of like getting hit by a real life meteor that doesn't give you superpowers, it just kills you. These are a lot of big movies. God, you're up the weekend The Fugitive came out. You could see Meteor Man or you could see The Fugitive.
Yeah.
Wow.
Or Jurassic Park.
Yeah, but you
any of the ones that I mentioned in the top 10.
Not after 9 weeks. I mean, I'm hoping that you'd already seen Jurassic Park at least once.
I saw it 4 times by that time.
God, beautiful! What a time to be alive. Wow.
Yeah. Well, let's transition to talking about this film. I think the first thing I want to do, if it's okay with you, is like I want to just give everyone a sense of how many people are in this movie.
Okay, yeah. Talk through the entire cast.
Because, I mean, you did a great job, as always, with your synopsis. There is no way to fit every single one of these people in this movie. And so I'm going to not only say who it is, but I'm going to just 1 or 2 credits of theirs just to, like, show the breadth of the industry that is represented in this film.
Go for it.
All right, ready? So we've got Robert Townsend writing, directing, starring.
Wow.
He did Hollywood Shuffle, 5 Heartbeats.
Yes.
Marla Gibbs from the Jeffersons and 277 or 227.
Yeah.
I have number dyslexia. Robert Guillaume, Benson himself, and the voice of Rafiki in Lion King.
A lot of Lion King folks.
Eddie Griffin from Undercover Brother. You have James Earl Jones, who needs no introduction.
Oh my God.
I
have so much to say.
Yeah, he's from Conan the Barbarian. You have you have Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby's in this movie. We're going to talk about him. But Bill Cosby's in this movie. You have Don Cheadle, who we know, obviously. We have Roy Fegan from the 5 Heartbeats and Run on the Shield TV show. Then, in supporting roles, sometimes cameos, legendary R&B singer Luther Vandross.
Yep.
Is a gangster with barely any lines.
He's just around.
You have Sinbad, who is just playing like a simp. Simpbad is in this movie.
He's like just playing a dude who's really excited to have his first black girlfriend and who's going way over the top. And it's just like, this seems like an improv or sketch comedy bit that Sinbad thought up and was like, yeah, sure, put it in my movie.
You have a ton of musical people in this movie.
Yes.
Cypress Hill as some gang members. You have Naughty by Nature as rival gang members.
Yep.
You have Big Daddy Kane as one of the Golden Lords. You have another bad creation as the young Golden Lords.
Yeah.
You have Tommy Tiny Lister from Friday, from The Fifth Element, from 100 Million Things.
Yes.
You have Nancy Wilson, who is a jazz legend. You have playing, I don't think it's too much to say, the best depiction of a villain in cinema history.
Okay, wow.
Frank Gorshin playing from Batman, i.e. the Riddler.
Yes.
Playing Mr. Byers, the kind of overlord
Kingpin.
of the Golden Lords and the crime rings across the eastern seaboard.
Yeah. The guy who stands at a boardroom table full of UN round table of thugs, yes.
And then even Chris Tucker does an uncredited cameo as the voice announcer over the PA at the mall.
Yes, yeah. And, I mean, I
forgot about Biz Marquis is in this, too.
Yes.
Playing himself a crack warden.
Yeah.
I'm very confused by that, but we'll get to that later, maybe.
Yeah, and, I mean, but then you're also not mentioning the only white person in the movie.
I mentioned Frank Gorshin.
No, okay. The best white person in the movie, Wallace Shawn, right. Jump scare, one scene. It's like, the teacher from Clueless is in this movie for some reason. He's about to get transferred to Beverly Hills.
And that's just like, as I said, that's just a representative of who's in this movie. There are others.
Yes.
That I'm not even mentioning that have had seminal roles in huge films throughout all of cinema and TV.
Yes. It's really, you get the feeling of just, again, this is one of those things of like, this is a movie that the people making it really gave a shit about. Townsend seems to have just reached out to a lot of people, and he's talked about this in interviews, how he wanted to get like this broad range of just black actors and cultural figures to participate in this, which is basically the first black superhero movie. There was one in the 70s that I've already forgotten the name of, but this was kind of the...
Yeah, there are a couple blaxploitation films that deal with the superhero genre in a way which... Yeah, I think that they can stand outside the superhero genre and stand more in the exploitation genre.
Yeah, this is the first one that like feels like an actual superhero movie in terms of like it is for a broad audience. It's a thing that kids can go see. And but so yeah, it feels like, much like Meteor Man rallies his community, and in a lot of ways it feels like sort of a wide community of like black entertainers all rallied to like be a part of this project.
So there are two things there that I think are a good place to start this conversation. And
perfect.
I'll leave it to you to kind of decide which one we go with. But one is, should we talk about this being a kid's film and why it was chosen to be a kid's film? Or should we talk about it in terms of it being a superhero movie at a time when, like, we didn't know what the fuck a superhero movie was yet?
I mean, well, I'm interested, actually. I don't necessarily know why it was chosen to be a kid's movie. Do you have an understanding of that? And if so, why was it decided to be a kid's movie?
Yeah, I'm not an expert on this. I just did the research anyone else can do by Googling.
well, okay, now I feel a little bit attacked, Landon, because I did do research. I just didn't find this specific thing in the research.
Well, okay. At this time, there was a lot of cultural things happening. It was kind of
That's a way to put it.
Kind of a pressure cooker, especially in Los Angeles.
Yes.
And from the late
younger listeners, there were some riots in Los Angeles in 1992 that were sort of the outcome of a lot of police brutality stuff. Okay, cool. Move on.
But the tensions were there, not only in Los Angeles, but across the board for decades, obviously. And like from the late 80s into 1993, when this is made, the depiction of black characters and representation of black culture on screen really was like a morphing of the blaxploitation features. Mm-hmm. Like it wasn't necessarily exploitation the way that it used to be, but it was very much just like hood pictures.
Yes.
You have Boys in the Hood, you have Menace to Society, you have the whole New Jack movement in New York, and there just wasn't a positive representation of black communities on the screen, and Robert Townsend was passionate about expanding what that representation meant on screen.
Generally, if you were seeing a movie with a predominantly black cast at that time, it was like a serious capital I issue movie with a lot of kind of violence and tragedy. They were all kind of very dramatic bummers that you couldn't take your kids to.
Well, what's interesting about this is like his intention to, and I love his intention to, like, this movie's hokey. at times.
Oh, yes.
This movie is idealist to a fault at times.
Yes.
But I still love it for that. And, like, I have a hard time hurling any criticism at someone that's just like, what if we do, like, represent and show what hope could be like? What if we show what it was like to stand up to things? At the same time, it's a weird reflection of, like, what was happening in hip-hop music at this time, too, because you had the kind of underground hip-hop scene, particularly in New York.
Yeah.
And you had the gangster scene in L.A., and obviously we know the East Side, West Side, beef that all, permeated throughout the 90s.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what it was, the underground hip-hop scene in New York at the time was very much about optimism. It was about education. It was about community. It was about putting power in the hands of the people. And gangsta rap was very much about, at least at the beginning, was very much about representing what life was actually like in the streets and trying to, like, raise a warning flag or, like, just, like, shout to say, hey, I'm here and I'm living in a war zone at times.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what it feels like.
Yeah.
And so, I understand from a completely divorced of the experience and situation, like, wanting to express yourself in both ways. And I can't imagine the kind of importance and the passion that could be driven from needing to show representation in both of those forms when you don't see that on, just a kind of ubiquitous basis the way that the rest of the world does.
Yeah, to just be able to have something that is hopeful and aspirational when so much of the cultural messaging that's getting through is not necessarily that.
Right. And there's a lurking third party in this, which is like
my least favorite kind of third party.
You can criticize something like Menace to Society or Boys in the Hood for those depictions, but it feels a little bit unfair to hurl that on the filmmakers.
Sure, of course.
When really, I think whether you're making, one of those sorts of, like, hard-hitting dramas or you're making a movie like this, it comes down to the marketing.
Yeah.
And I have some notes on the marketing as well, but all of that to say, that's just the context to bring it back to the point of, like, Robert Townsend wanted to make a movie for all audiences. So it's not even just for children. He wanted to make a 4-quadrant movie.
Yeah.
That gave a positive representation of community culture on screen that just wasn't being shown.
Yeah. Which is a noble goal, and I think that, look, I'm gonna say, as someone who doesn't have a long history with this movie, I enjoyed watching this quite a lot. I found I really, this movie deeply warmed my heart, and I really feel like a lot of affection for this movie. I don't think that on an objective level it's a good movie. There's a lot of
I agree with you.
A lot of ways that this stuff doesn't work out, which obviously we will get into, but it's interesting to me the choices that he made in trying to make a 4-quadrant movie. And I don't know how much meddling there was from the studio, because there are kind of chunks that seem to be missing from this movie and character storylines that seem to get dropped and abandoned for whatever reason. But I like looking at this and seeing the ways in which it succeeds at trying to show joy and aspirational ideas, and also advance ideas about how you can help a community as a superhero that does not solely revolve around violence, which is sorely lacking, I think.
Yeah. God, I can't wait to dig into the details with you.
Why don't we dig into the details? Let's dig into some
let's
details.
do that.
Yeah, let's dig into them right now.
Okay, then I'm gonna pull out something you said in your synopsis and just kind of hold it out there to examine. You called him a coward.
Yes.
Before he turns into Meteor Man, you called him a coward.
Yes.
Let's talk a little bit about his character before he gets superpowers.
Sure.
Describe him a bit, and we can see if he's a coward or not.
Jefferson Reed, Robert Townsend's character, he's a high school substitute teacher who lives in inner city Washington, D.C. Great to see a movie set in Washington, D.C., by the way.
Washington, D.C. now!
Yes. After we get opening... Okay, this movie opens very strongly in deep space with cool-ass titles zooming past you, and you see, like, this blue ball of, like, energy fire zooming through space, and it's going towards a meteor, and I'm looking at the meteor like, is that blue thing gonna hit that meteor? And then it does, and it's a huge blue explosion, and the words "the Meteor Man" fly out of it, and I'm just like, motherfucker, I'm at the movies right now. I am already having a ball.
For how long we've been flying out here in outer space, why can't we get hit by a flying superpower-giving meteor?
It's all of the stuff that hits us, it's all space debris, it's the Voyager probe, it's never anything
fucking
good.
Marcy X.
Yeah, I know. I know, that's not total sex, it's a total mess. But after all of that, we then go to Washington D.C. and it's just Washington D.C. subtitled, and then now in like capital letters with an exclamation point, like this is the present day. But I love to see a movie that's just set in Washington, D.C., and not because it's about, like, the White House or something, but it's just like, it's a city where lots of people live and shit goes on there, and
maybe a movie that needs to be watched now to just show you that, it's not all what the story's being made out to be.
You know what?
Very vibrant and thriving healthy communities that want to stick up for each other.
Yes, we do not need to deploy the military because we have Meteor Man and listen. Much like Mark Wahlberg, if he'd been on Flight 93, if Meteor Man was in the world right now, this whole situation would not be going on. Meteor Man would have fixed all of our problems.
Dude, if ever we needed a Meteor Man sequel, it's right now.
Yes. But, you couldn't make this movie today, but you could make the sequel to this movie today. So, he is Jefferson Reed. He lives in an apartment in a kind of lower income neighborhood in Washington, D.C. He's a substitute teacher at a high school. He loves jazz. He is a jazz bassist. A thing that sort of gets dropped from the movie what was that?
I said, I love this. The fact that you can give a main character a hobby and not explore it even a little bit. He carries an upright bass from his building to his car once, and then it gets stolen, and it's like, well, I can't pursue my love and interest anymore because I got robbed.
So much for that dream. Yeah, it's but so it seems like because it really seems like in these early scenes when he's at school and he's talking to his friend played by Eddie Griffin, about it seems like he really wants to make a go of it as a musician, and teaching is kind of just like his hustle to make money. And I don't know, I'm not
he's a substitute teacher, and the principal, everyone in this movie is hurling the responsibility on him like he's going to be representing the future of the school. Like the amount of like shit he gets thrown at him for, like, how long has he been a substitute teacher at this school, for one thing?
Yeah.
And two, the amount of like, you got to go to the principal's office to have a talk about what's happening with these kids. It's like, he's a fucking substitute teacher. His job is built to wheel in an AV cart and put in a movie for the day.
Yeah, an episode of Nova or Bill Nye the Science Guy. Yeah, it's weird that he has built such deep relationships because, Eddie Griffin is also a teacher at the school. He seems to be a science teacher because he wears a lab coat. Yep. But also in Eddie Griffin's first scene, he's showing him an invention he's made to, like, measure sound waves, I guess, to, like, track how much people are enjoying that night's jazz performance. Another thing of me being poisoned by the way movies are today, I'm like, that thing is going to come back in the last scene. No, it's not. It's just Eddie Griffin just invents weird shit. It doesn't have to be part of the third act. But he goes to school and he is getting reamed out first thing by the principal because two parents, unhappy parents, have brought in their son who has had his ass severely kicked by all of the school's bullies. And apparently
the happy about it.
Well, yes, we're going to get into that in just a sec.
Okay,
the reason for the ass kicking is because apparently Jefferson has been teaching his class, if you're getting bullied, don't fight back, just run away. And they're like, well, because our son didn't defend himself, he got his ass kicked because he listened to you.
Yeah. So you think that makes him a coward?
I think if you are actively encouraging children not to stand up for themselves and run away, I think that's cowardice. And also, I mean, he's being... I feel like I'm not being too hard on the man. Like, I felt for him. He's, like, the most cucked man alive for the first 20 minutes of the movie. But, like, he is, like... he is actively, like, afraid of everything. He shrinks from every confrontation. He runs away from fights. I mean, it's not like I'm out there in these streets trying to, like, get in fights with people or anything, but the movie is very clearly presenting him as this man does not stand up for himself and encourages others to do the same.
That's fair, especially considering a scene that comes very shortly after this. Though I do... like that when the mom is like really drilling into him, like, how could you let one of your teachers teach this to kids, this way of thinking? She's like, he told him, eat your food faster so that they won't take it from him. And he's like, actually I told him to eat it rapidly.
the ultimate Poindexter pushing your glasses up your nose thing. I do love that, the principal tells him during this meeting, teach only from the books and not your philosophy on life. And it's just that is sort of gutting to be told, hey, your life philosophy should be kept far away from children. If they turn out anything like you, we are going to get sued. You can't do this. It is worth noting in this scene, I hate to hurl criticism at the movie, but I will here. The scene, he gets into the office and he turns around to look who's come there for this meeting, and the camera slowly pans up this kid who's wearing a cast and has a cast on his leg, and he's on crutches, and he's got a black eye and like bandages all over him, and he's smiling, and then the camera pans slowly over to the kid's mom who's scowling at Jefferson, and then pans over to his dad who's scowling, and they're like, we're so mad you told our kid not to defend himself, he got his ass kicked. I'm just curious why the kid isn't mad that he got his ass kicked. He's smiling at Jefferson like, hey, I did the thing you told me, teach.
Isn't the kid's happiness all that really matters?
Well, yeah, and so I'm almost like, well then, yeah, is Jefferson a bad teacher? The kid, it seems like maybe the kid's life was enriched by getting the beat down. I don't know. He doesn't seem upset about it.
I don't know. I was just like, the kid had such a charming, like, it almost like wasn't that he was in a movie, or that he knew that he was in a movie. He's just like, oh my God, this is the coolest day of my life. I get to wear a fake cast, and I'm sitting here, and there's a camera on me. This is awesome.
Showbiz, it's amazing. It's Hollywood magic going on right before my eyes. But yeah. So I don't know. So that is the character who we get. He is afraid to stand up for himself. I mean, do you think he's not a coward? I mean, would you say that he's brave?
Well, no, I think it's intentionally complicated, because what I think it is, though, due to the limitations of what the movie is in terms of exploring these big ideas,
sure,
I think he's a pacifist who doesn't know how to assert himself.
Sure, yeah.
And it comes out as cowardice.
Yeah.
Because when we see the first instance with the Golden Lords, he's walking, his cello or his upright bass has already been stolen. He's been dressed down at work, just top to bottom, can't have, it's a Monday for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he's walking down the street with his mom and his dad. His dad has his bag of groceries in his arms. James Earl Jones, who we're going to talk about extensively, is following behind them like a little puppy dog. And you get the sight of the Golden Lords for the first time. Don Cheadle is selling some crack and a little vial. And his dad is like, I'm not... Everyone's like, let's just go on the other side of the street. Let's not engage. We don't want to, cross paths with these people. And his dad's like, fuck that, man. Mm-hmm. I'm not crossing the street for no one.
Yeah.
And he just walks right through and has this little confrontation with the Golden Lords. And so, to me, like, that was a good example of pacifism, but being able to assert yourself. It's not cowardice as pacifism.
I'm just gonna let you go with this. This is the podcast now. It's kind of Montessori. Let him figure it out himself.
Like, he's able to do it in a way that like has a backbone.
Yeah.
Where I feel like Jeffrey hasn't learned that skill. He's like, I feel that philosophy in my bones, but like, I'd rather just avoid the confrontation than stand up for myself.
Sure. I mean, and to be fair though, Jefferson's dad goes really hard on Don Cheadle. Trying to push past him, Don Cheadle drops the crack vial on the ground and looks at it, and it's still intact. It's a glass vial full of crack rocks, and he turns to his dad and is like, "You're lucky that didn't break." And then Jefferson's dad just steps on it and smashes the crack.
Oh man, it's so good.
And he only then the cops kind of pull up so Don Cheadle doesn't do anything violent to him, but Don Cheadle just oozing charisma, just thick, redolent charisma off of this dude, just looks at him and says, "See you later, man." And Jefferson's dad says to him, "You don't have to see me later. See me now, punk." And it's like
I ain't crossing no street. I felt that in my bones because
so good
for very different reasons. My last year or two in Los Angeles, I felt that way about every person I walked down the street that was walking in the opposite direction for me and didn't make room for me to, like, hey, you're walking side by side with someone and I'm walking single file, and you're gonna make me walk on the grass. Like, I was ready to start shoving people, and so him in this moment is like, I'm not crossing the street for you, you'll see me now. Like, it kind of spoke to my bones a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, I think I would be a little more willing to challenge like an old Armenian lady walking her dog than like scary ass crack dealer Don Cheadle. But I mean, same basic vibes going on here.
I don't know. I was so far gone those last years in Los Angeles. I don't know that I would have been as discriminating with who I crossed paths with.
Yeah, you were taxi driving a little bit. I was there for it, but so. I guess I buy that, yes, he's a pacifist, although he seems to then abandon the pacifism as soon as he gets superpowers, and then he's willing to punch people and kick asses. So it seems not like it's a principled aversion to violence, it's just a generalized aversion to conflict, which, by the way,
yes.
I'm not criticizing as a person who deals with conflict avoidance in therapy. Like, I'm not saying it's like an unforgivable sin.
But he has, I mean, that's 100% it, because there's a line of dialogue later in the movie that explicitly states that, where he's like, once he starts to lose his powers, he says something to the effect of, I guess when nothing can hurt you, you aren't as afraid of conflict.
Yeah.
You're not as afraid of confrontation.
Yeah.
So I don't know what these people are feeling.
True.
But you do, because you experienced it before you got superpowers like a week ago, but whatever.
Yeah, come on, dude. Have some object permanence, Meteor Man.
But yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah. So, I mean, do we want to, we've kind of set him up. Do we talk about the Meteor, or do we talk about the people in his life, e.g. James Earl Jones?
Oh, boy. Let's talk about the Meteor.
Yeah, because that okay, also, for listeners who sometimes try to follow along with our movies, Meteor Man is a tough one to find. If it's not being served to you by a weird machine in deep space, you can't really get it on streaming. You kind of have to buy a DVD off Amazon, which is...
Or go to your library, which is where I got it.
What the fuck's a library, man? I don't read books. I'm not some fucking dork.
Hey, I got Meteor Man from the library, and it came with a jump scare double feature with Carbon Copy starring Denzel Washington and George Segal.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. You get a little twofer, and you didn't pay a nickel for it. But so yeah, it is probably valuable for us to talk just a bit about what the actual goings on in this movie are to help orient people.
Well, yeah. So like, by the time he gets hit by the meteor, which we'll go into in a second, just to kind of like finish setting the context, like the Golden Lords are threatening the city. They're the neighborhood. They are graffitiing on everything. They retaliate for this confrontation on the streets.
Yes.
They put someone in the hospital. Like, there's a lot of shit going on, and you really get the sense that something needs to happen. Like, they even had a town hall meeting, and I have so many questions for you because you are the town hall meeting attendee of this podcast.
That doesn't sound good. Don't tell people about that, man.
But when he sees this town hall meeting, which is barely attended, their solution is like, we need to station community members outside these hot areas where the crack houses are, and we're all going to be equipped with a little hat and a whistle, and they're going to know that, you know, people are patrolling the streets.
Yeah.
And it's played for, like, naivety, right?
Yeah.
He's like, what good is this actually going to fucking do? Like, a little neon hat is going to do anything against a crack house? I don't think so.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, now in this day and age, if I see someone wearing a red trucker hat like the ones that they're passing out, I stay very far away. I'm like, I don't want whatever you're selling.
Being in Wisconsin, Madison specifically, in which our football team is the Badgers and UW has the red and yellow or red and white mascot. There's so many red hats around here, and I freak out every time I go in public.
I'm just gonna say, if you're like a cool person who believes in normal good things, I just think you shouldn't wear a red hat. Sports teams can't use red, and if you have like a funny like thing you want to write on your red hat that's like, you know, make America skate again or something, just don't do that wordplay on a hat. I'm sorry, it's hats are very triggering in this modern era.
Anyway, so that's the context. Like, shit is going down in the neighborhood before the meteor hits.
And let's just say about the Golden Lords, who are the source of the shit. Yep. Can we just say, like, the coolest looking bad guys in the history of cinema? So dope.
Thank you. I thought that way back in the day, like, thinking, these guys are menacing. They have a tiger.
Yes.
They have a literal tiger on set in this movie. But also, their drip is just phenomenal.
Oh my god, the looks on these guys. I'm watching this. It's like, I know they're the bad guys. I know it's not good that they have this gang of very menacing like 8-year-olds who they've drafted into the drug trade as their foot soldiers. Junior lords. Well, there's the baby lords and there's the junior lords.
Baby lords, junior lords, golden lords. Right.
Yes. And I'm just like, I mean, I know I shouldn't want to join them, and maybe I wouldn't be allowed in, but boy, they look cool. Who is their tailor? Because like they all wear these like. In the first scene where we see them, like, they're all wearing these matching, like, black suits and, like, are they black turtlenecks that they're wearing underneath the jackets or something?
Some of them have black turtlenecks, yeah. There's, like, little areas of, accessorization each of them can do. But generally, they all have to have, like, the blonde hair, the black jacket, the black shirt, the black pants, and
sunglasses.
Sometimes sunglasses.
But what I also love is that in different scenes in the movie, they sort of like materialize in a space. Like at one point, Jefferson's in his classroom alone, and then he looks up, and all of the Golden Lords are there. We don't see how they got in the room, but there's like these 15 really menacing children, and like 6 of the most dripped out adult men, led by Don Cheadle, all just there staring at him.
Not led by Don Cheadle, led by Roy Fegan.
Yeah,
Don Cheadle's the main minion.
Okay, see if you can smell what I'm stepping in here, Landon.
Okay.
Don Cheadle is a lot like Jennifer Connelly in He's Just Not That Into You, in that whenever he's on screen, whatever else is happening on screen, I'm looking at Don Cheadle and thinking about, what's Don Cheadle doing right now? What's Don Cheadle's character doing?
1 minute, go.
Okay, so what if Don Cheadle was like my friend? Guys, wouldn't that be cool if I was friends with Don Cheadle? Like, he'd call me up and he'd be like, hey man, you wanna go to In-N-Out or something? And, and wouldn't that be fun? We'd like talk about stuff, whatever projects he's working on, and like I could kind of like share things about my life with him. But it would be a two-way street, obviously. Don Cheadle would talk to me about what was going on with him, and I'd talk right back. It would be conversation. He'd say something, I'd say something, like all friends do.
And that's a minute.
He could also be a guest on our podcast. Anyway.
So, because I have a lot to say about Roy Fegan in this movie as well as the main lord, and I did do the thought experiment of what if you had switched and made Don Cheadle the main bad guy, and I'm glad they didn't, and I have a very specific reason why, but we'll get to that later. I want to finish what you were setting up about them just materializing.
They will kind of show up in a scene, all of them together at once. The very first time they show up on screen, like when they make their first appearance,
it's beautiful.
He's Jefferson has had this horrible day. His base has been stolen. It's he's gotten yelled at work. His parents think he's a joke, and he walks around this street corner. He sees 2 little kids robbing a woman, and then like
they're students of his.
Yes, yeah, two kids who he's worked with at school. or like taught at school.
Worked with they're my colleague, my 8-year-old colleagues.
I gathered around the water cooler with these like 6-year-olds. You see Dancing with the Stars last night? Oh, amazing! Andy Richter's doing so well. But then you hear all these footsteps, and out of the darkness, like we see the shot of this dark street, and the baby lords, all these little kids walking in step in their matching suits, looking tough as hell, come out of
into like a pooled spotlight from a street lamp.
Yes,
it's just darkness surrounding it, so they just like emerge from this inky blackness.
Yes. It's
so good.
And then the junior lords come out behind them, walking in step, and stop behind them.
The most coordinated gang that's ever existed.
These guys could be such a good dance crew if they weren't selling crack. If you ever think about that. And
I want to know who their choreographer is. We talk about their style, but like they're walking in step with each other. They know, like, okay, the baby lords are going to be here. We have to, cascade how we're walking in, and
5, 6, 7, 8, and walk and walk and stop. And this is intercut. Then we hear a tiger growling, and one of the Golden Lords is walking a tiger on a leash. And it's like, who's their animal wrangler for the Golden Lords? They've got choreographers, seamstresses, costume people. How many people are taking care of the tiger? If they got Joe Exotic working for them, is he a Golden Lord?
Man, it's an entrance.
And of course, and then their leader, I want to say Mr. Fegan. Roy Fegan is the actor. Roy Fegan walks out, and the way we were first introduced to him are just close-ups and of his hands. And what has he got in his hands, Landon? What is this crack-dealing kingpin playing with when he makes his first appearance?
It's a golden slinky.
A golden slinky, ladies and gentlemen, and non-binary listeners. A golden slinky. And it makes a cool sound. I mean, like the slinky, because you're kind of hearing the slinky sound on the soundtrack, and you're like, and all this menacing stuff is happening. You're like, what the fuck's going on? What's that sound? And you see it's a slinky, and you're almost like laughing at yourself for being scared of slinky noises.
I was really curious how you were going to respond to the slinky. It sounds weird to say that the fucking slinky is cool as shit, but like you picture the cliche of someone like flipping a coin in their hand as they walk out and like, hey, you're gonna really regret your words on that one last week.
Yeah. Imagine if all the bad guys in Chicago had slinkies instead of whatever else they were playing with.
I mean, imagine Rent, but all just with slinkies.
Wow.
Did I say Rent? I meant Stomp.
Yeah, I was thinking, like, I don't really know what the 1-to-1 is with Rent. Like, yeah, AIDS is tough. I don't know what a slinky is going to do to fix that.
Slinkies can bring joy to anybody, even
okay.
Golden Lords.
Okay, imagine a God of Carnage, but others playing with slinkies the entire time.
Oh my god.
The reason that they have to wait for Godot is because Godot is playing with his slinky the entire time.
For a second here, I gotta pull back the veil on the podcast for a moment. There have been a number of times when I have made a flub and expected you to just like edit it out, but then you make a joke on my flub and then you justify keeping my flub in the episode.
Okay, I sound like an idiot a lot on this show too. Remember, for the whole time we talked about Home Improvement, I could not get the names of the kids on that show right.
Fair.
So we, that's if we cut out all the flubs, this would be a crisp 30-minute long podcast.
All right. So, yeah, then they give him a beat down here, right? Like, or is that what happens?
No, they give him a chase down. He runs away.
Down.
Yeah. And he,
right. Yes. Okay. Because this brought up another question I had, which is, as they start chasing him down, he runs down an alleyway and takes shelter in a dumpster.
Yep.
My question to you is, why was it in the 80s and 90s the cowards' place to go to hide from bullies was the dumpster? Is it just because we don't have as many dumpsters or access to dumpsters nowadays?
Landon, I don't know what you Midwesterners are doing, but I have ample access to dumpsters. I can think of like 3 different dumpsters I could jump into 1 minute from now if I were so inclined.
We'll see how bad my bullying gets in this episode.
I mean, I'm the one who's been roasting you for your flubs. Look, I think it's just a fact. I think it's to drive home just the level of cowardice. It's like you're so scared, you're so desperate to hide that you're going to surround yourself with literal trash rather than stand up to the people who are chasing you.
Yeah, I actually expected the 6-year-old, because the the kid who's in his class, who's joining the Baby Lords, like still doing his initiation.
He's on probation for the Baby Lords. He's waitlisted for the Baby Lords.
He's the only one who happens to look in the dumpster and sees his face. And when someone, ADR off screen just goes, anything in there? And the kid's looking straight at, Jeffrey's face and just goes, no, nothing. I really thought he was going to say just trash.
Yeah.
But no, we didn't get that.
What he says, not to be pedantic, he says, nah, nobody. And it's like
nobody.
Looking him in the eye and calling him like, this is one of these moments where the movie is really powerful on a character level, where it's just like, this is how low it's spent this time painting this portrait of just how low Jefferson has fallen, or just like how much his conflict aversion has hurt his life, that he's being chased basically by a 6-year-old who he's been trying to educate, and the kid looks him in the eye and is like, you're not even worth beating up. I don't even this child pities him. And I felt it. It was a real emotional beat, the way that it's shot and presented in the movie, and the way that it plays out on Robert Townsend's face.
And not to throw my own correction in here, but I forgot that this sequence started because they were luring him by having it sound like they basically started accosting a woman, and he was like gonna step in and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" And then as payback for what his father did with the crack.
Yeah.
Which is important because after he gets his powers, one of the first instances we see of it manifesting comes from yet another retaliation for this getaway that he makes in the dumpster. But all of that to say, he does escape, and once he's able to walk home alone, as he starts walking down this alleyway, just out of nowhere,
a meteor.
This meteor comes down from the sky, and almost like when in Batman and Superman, the arrival of Supergirl was targeted right at Clark Kent's or Superman's little pod. Like this Krypton meteor is heading toward Earth and gonna decimate Earth because it was targeted directly at Superman. It feels like this meteor is coming down like it was somehow targeted right at him, because it not only comes straight down at him, it goes into does this little swooping thing and then starts going slower in the alleyway as it's at his chest level, chasing him.
Yeah, it's like he's running down the alley, and it's not on a straight trajectory with the ground. As it gets closer, it then begins to just home in and follow him. Get fucked, laws of physics. This asteroid is doing its own thing. Meteor, I'm sorry. But yeah, so it's this meteor, which is also, I guess, it looks big in the moment, but also I guess meteor-wise it's pretty small. It's small enough to fit into this alleyway and chase a man down. But yeah, then he's pinned.
Just yet another inconsistency with the size of it, because in space, it's huge. It's big enough to break through the title screen of the movie. Truman.
Yeah, well, yeah, this is true, but it's also notoriously difficult to determine scale in space.
Are you suggesting that the title of the movie is actually just 2 inches high?
Yeah, honestly, that's the greatest magic trick of all. That's the real plot twist of this movie.
Okay, now I'm gonna break us out of chronology by asking this: the depiction of him getting hit by the meteor, and using it to segue into a broader conversation about the depiction of violence in this movie. So,
thank you for previewing.
Talk to me about your experience, because man, it was visceral, and I remembered it, of him absorbing this meteor.
So he's running down the alley, meteor chasing him. He gets flat up against a brick wall, no way out. He then turns and faces the meteor head on, which, if you're conflict averse, taking a meteor straight to the chest is pretty intense. But yeah, it hits him in the chest. There's a big explosion, and I'm just thinking, then we're gonna see him lying on the ground with his face all kind of scarred
steamy
up
or something.
Yes,
yeah,
it's like cartoon violence. But we're suddenly in this Cronenberg-ass situation where the meteor is half buried in his chest. He's all covered in burns and blood, and he's screaming, and the meteor is absorbing into him, and he's writhing in genuine pain to the point that it's sort of disturbing for me and an incredibly old man who watches R-rated movies with violence in them a lot. Jesus, children's film. And yeah, so he's like the meteor absorbs into his chest. It's this fun mix of practical effects and kind of ropey CGI. I appreciated it. And and then he's like, he collapses looking rough, and then he's taken to the hospital. But it's visceral.
Yeah, so I mean, let's use that. How do you feel about the depiction of violence and gore in this movie? I shouldn't say gore, but like the end battle when he doesn't have his superpowers, and he's like, I don't want to take the steam out of like the triumphant moment of that, because that really is a thing I want to talk about. But when he's getting his ass beat to him at the last part of this movie, like his eye is swollen shut, like it's a raging bull special effect.
And it was sort of also shocking to see that. At the same time, it's like, I think that the getting hit by the meteor is by far the most violent part of the movie. I think a lot of the, like, when he's getting beat up, we're seeing it on him for dramatic purposes, but a lot of the other fighting that happens in the movie is pretty Batman TV show.
Well, I guess I'm not thinking of the fighting so much. It's like the next scene that we see this, like after he has his powers, and the next retaliation is like, it's a drive-by shooting.
Okay, that's
and
true.
There's a platoon shot in slow motion as his arms are like flailing at his sides and he falls to his knees. Like, so, and there's another where he's starting to lose his powers and he's grabbing all the bullets from another kind of shooting.
Yeah, and he's bloody in the hands. Yeah,
his hands are bloody. Yeah, so like, what was your reaction to all of that in a movie that is also incredibly broad and meant for, all audiences?
And slapstick. Look, the scene of him getting shot in the drive-by, which, happens, the Golden Lords have chased him down as further retaliation because he got away the other night. He's just walking to work or something, and this car, it's very quiet, like the sound mix on the street is just normal noises, and then it's like you hear the music from the car playing and the squealing tires, and the car comes around, and it's Don Cheadle and all these other guys leaning out and shooting him, and the newsstand behind him is getting obliterated by bullets. He's getting hit a million times. And for me, it was kind of like, it hit me pretty hard, because I'm like, oh shit, I'm watching like a gangland drive-by shooting, and I'm trying to check this thing of like, okay, well, how much like imagery and like scare piece news coverage in my life have I observed about like oh, black community, oh, drive-by shootings, things like that. I mean, it's definitely playing on that thing, which is very much a reality in inner city communities in the 90s especially, but then that it like almost becomes comical at some point with the amount of times he's getting shot, and I don't know when the switch is flipped to comedy.
I don't think the shooting doesn't become comical. The scene becomes comical. Like he gets riddled, and then slow motion falls to the ground. The car drives off, but then they look in the rearview mirror and like screech the brakes because they see him getting up, and then they're like, what's this about? And they're looking back, and it's like, okay, put it in reverse. We're going back. And then it, turns into this weird adventure moment when Robert Townsend was like touching his chest, like, wait, I'm fine. What the heck just happened? And as he's running again, he starts to take off in the air and lands on the top of a street light. And it goes from this like incredibly like real world depiction of this real world thing into a cartoon within like 2 beats. But I wanted to know your reaction because I couldn't be unbiased. I remember as a kid, just like this movie hit me and introduced me to like so many wild, kind of brain melting experiences. Just to go, oh my God, you could just be walking down the street and like someone could just shoot you. Like that scared the shit out of me as a kid.
Yeah, well, and you were also probably, living outside Detroit in the 90s, you were probably getting some kind of fucked up news coverage, too, about crime going on relative. I know you were far outside of actual Detroit.
I love that. I was just talking about not being biased about this because of my experience as a kid, but do we need to remind you that not everyone as a child was watching the news and reading the New Yorker.
I was not okay now, but like that. Okay, you know, and here you're roasting me. You're just straight up bullying me, and I'm gonna hide in a dumpster. But I mean that shit's in the environment.
Right.
Like people talk about
exactly.
it. Like,
yes.
You know.
Yes.
Yeah. Like maybe
Detroit especially.
Yeah, you know, so maybe you're not reading like Talk of the Town section of the New Yorker all about the most recent violence in the city, but you still it's going on. You're aware that that's something.
Yeah, you know, it's weird because like I grew up in a predominantly white waspy suburb of Detroit.
Sure.
And like I don't remember any specific thing that was on the news. But what I remember is that the news was always playing while we were waiting for my dad to get home so that we can go out to dinner on Friday nights. So I know that the news was like in the environment, whether I was listening to it or not, I was absorbing something. And so you're right. I mean, it absolutely was kind of a fear-mongering, let's paint out the violence and the sensationalism of this for ratings.
I am curious, though, I mean, because you've talked about with Vampire in Brooklyn, how that was a movie you watched at an early age that really scared the shit out of you with the way some of these things were depicted. So this scared you, but it didn't scare you off of, like, coming back to the movie again and again throughout your life.
Well, no. Side note, I think this movie might have some of the same sets from Vampire in Brooklyn.
I mean,
that alleyway scene, maybe.
Yeah, I was looking at that and I was thinking the same thing, and then I was just like, hey, you know what? Maybe they just have the same building materials when you want to make an alley set on the cheap. Like
maybe.
Yeah, it's a red brick wall. That's pretty, it's pretty common look to get.
To answer your question, like, I think that's the brilliance of a movie like this, and it's also where a lot of the critics hurled their words, is that like it has too many ideas and can't go too deep into any of them.
Yeah.
But when I look at my experience as a kid, it's like this idea of this real world drive-by shooting then being supplanted by a cartoony thing. It's like it brings me enough toward like understanding, even if maybe not intelligently, but I can feel what the problem is, and then bring me back into the adventure of it.
Yeah.
In a way that like, if you do the calculation right, and by the end of the movie, you've ended on a triumphant note, you've had a ratio of more adventure to real world issues. Like, as a 11-year-old, 10-year-old, 12-year-old, I'm going to want to return to that movie for the fun adventure and just kind of know that, oh, yeah, I'm going to have to walk out of the room at the end of the movie when the dog scene comes on.
Yeah. Also intense that they put some real dog violence in here. I think that is, I mean, and that the presence of that drive-by shooting scene, I mean, it is a good way to kind of establish, also for audiences who don't live in an environment like this one, kind of show the stakes of what this community is dealing with and what they're up against, but then also turn it around for comic purposes.
Well, I think that's where this movie doesn't get enough credit, because I was also just thinking about the depiction of guns in this movie.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I can think of another children's movie, and this isn't a children's movie. This is an all-family movie, all ages movie.
Sure.
I can't think of another that has this level of gun exposure in it.
Yeah.
Let alone shooting, let alone it hitting a person.
Yeah, it's one thing like to be like the A-Team where everybody is running around with guns, but they always miss. No one ever actually gets shot on the A-Team. But yeah, people are physically hit by bullets in this movie.
So where I think the brilliance of this is like, you can't do this movie. You can't do the story and the themes that you want.
Yeah.
If you aren't going to actually depict the dangers that are there.
Yeah.
Like, you can't just give them all like lollipops or walkie-talkies if you're Steven Spielberg.
One of us was going to bring that up. I'm glad it was you. Yeah.
You have to show what is actually threatening the communities. And so the fact that he doesn't shy away from it, but calibrates it just in the right enough way to like make you feel it, but not like gross you out by it, not luxuriate in it, not sensationalize it.
Yeah.
It's just like, it's there. We acknowledge it. This is a real thing. And, let's get on with the adventure.
Can I talk about another thing that scared me right after this scene? Like,
yes.
basically the conclusion of this scene. So he's running away from them, and then he leaps into the air and kind of flies and winds up grabbing onto a light pole high above the street. Yeah. And Don Cheadle and his friends are freaked out by this, and rather than continuing to shoot him in his very exposed position, they turn around and flee. And so then Robert Townsend is clinging to the top of this streetlight, and we get this POV shot from him looking down the light pole to the ground far below, and his character is afraid of heights, and I am too, and just that shot looking down the light pole to the ground, it really kind of hit me. I mean, this is again, this is your Chinatown cinematography. This is John A. Alonzo earning his paycheck, but like, and then he's up there and he's like on the thing, and his weight is starting to bend the street light down, and then he eventually he catches a couple people in kind of an intimate moment, or a woman in her underwear through a window, and she shrieks, and her boyfriend comes running out, and he falls off of the light pole, and he lands hard on his back, and I felt it. I knew he was invincible.
Did you feel it because it created an earthquake and literal fault line down the street?
An earthquake that was felt as far away as Baltimore, according to the movie. I like just the way that
a place where this was filmed, actually.
Yes.
Partly in LA, partly in Baltimore, and people to this day still love to claim that Meteor Man was shot in their neighborhood.
I mean, look, it's Meteor Man and The Wire, the two greatest pieces of Baltimore cinema. Of course, I'm sorry, Diner also. But
do we like that movie?
Do we like Diner? I don't know. Well, I get. Wait, no, I'm sorry. John Waters also Baltimore. There, Cecil B. Demented. There we replaced it. But But the way he hits the ground, the way that it looks, I was like, oh my God, is he dead? And it's like, you just watched him get shot a million times, Truman. He's invincible. That's what this movie is proving to you. But I was so worried about him from that fall because of the way it was filmed.
All right. We have to talk because we got to get to the community. We have to talk just real quick about an inventory of his superpowers.
Okay, good.
Because they don't make a whole lot of sense.
No,
but I don't care. But they don't make any sense.
Okay. Well, let's go through it. What's the big one is invincibility. We just learned. What else has he got?
Invulnerable and super strength. I think those kind of always go hand in hand.
Sure.
He can fly. We kind of alluded to that already.
Yes.
He can fly, but is afraid of heights and flies 3 feet off the ground. It's funny.
It is, and I don't think I'm exaggerating. It is the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. These shots of him flying with the heroic bum 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 score playing, and he's like 3 feet off. He's like flying along the streets at the level of like a car driving, but with his fists out in front of him, and he's looking all triumphant, but he's flying. It's so absurd. I love it. It's my happy thought.
Okay, he can talk to animals.
Mainly dogs.
He can talk to animal.
He could, no, because we then see from the other guy with the meteor, it seems like all dogs.
Okay. All right. Yes. The other guy. He can see through walls.
Yes. What else can he see
clothes.
through, Landed? Yep, clothes. But not underwear. Just clothes.
Not underwear.
We're going to come back around on that. I have thoughts on that.
Okay. He has super breath that can maybe control the climate?
Well, yeah, and he also can like he has seed fingers that can like make.
That I was gonna get to that. He has healing powers that might also just. Okay, you brought up the garden before.
Yeah,
he does this thing where he uses his super strength to clear out this junkyard, and then he creates this like little till and tows the land, to make room to put these seeds in. And so then once he's done with that, he puts his both hands in the ground, and you see the kind of neon green powers go from his gloves into the ground, and the next day you get this gigantic garden with, giant pumpkins in it.
Yeah.
Just gonna say, I think we should maybe lab test those vegetables before we eat them.
I was gonna say, because he's the scene, like the lead up is he's like shoving all of these junked out abandoned cars out of the way, and then plants the soil, and I'm like, oh, Meteor Man, forever chemicals. Like
I'm also thinking radiation from the meteor. Do we know that his superpowers aren't going to just give everyone radiation poisoning?
I mean, or it will make them all into Meteor Mans. We don't really know. I have so many thoughts about the garden scene, too, which I think is actually a really beautiful moment in the movie, even though it raises so many questions.
Because after he does that, then he looks up to the sky and blows into the sky to create a cloud that then rains so that the next day all of the greenery will be there.
The most gigantic vegetables, I mean, like ears of corn that are the size of a bus. I mean, it's massive. Landon, how much would you pay to have like one of the gigantic apple props from this movie in your house?
I just don't have the room. If I had the room for it,
you have a basement. But in your basement,
I'd pay $10 for it.
Well, I guess the point of Meteor Man's
it's just collecting dust in a warehouse right now.
I'm sorry, I thought you loved Meteor Man. That's.
I would spend more money on the costume than I would an apple.
Okay, and the costume wouldn't gather dust because you'd be wearing that to work every day.
An apple from In Dreams, that might be a different question. I might pay more for that.
Because that apple is just on your computer screen generating more and more and more apples. Doesn't gather any dust, doesn't take up space.
He's got one more superpower that we have to talk about for another 3 hours.
Okay.
He can touch any book and know all of its contents for 30 seconds exactly.
I watched that scene and I was like, oh, god damn it, of course Landon likes this movie, duh.
What? Wait, hold on. Unpack that for a moment.
I know, look, I think that's a really cool thing, but also just like, Landon loves reading. He once said that he has books in his blood. You would love the ability to just touch any book and absorb all of the knowledge from it. I mean, you listen to audiobooks at like, what % speed?
Well, it depends on the book.
What speed did you listen to Sahara at?
2 speed, because that was on YouTube, and it can't go faster than that.
Okay. You had to really, yeah. They haven't invented a technology to speed through a Clive Cussler book fast enough. It seemed like the kind of superpower that you would want to have.
Yeah, I mean, as a child, it really galvanized my imagination. Mm-hmm. Like, I'd seen super strength, I'd seen flying, I've seen all of that stuff, but for all of these years, the superpower I've never seen replicated, maybe short of Jeff Goldblum and Vibes touching a table and being able to know its entire history. I've never seen this depiction, and the what makes it so fascinating is the temporal nature of it.
Yes.
It's like, I can be a genius and recite exactly what's in this book for 30 seconds, and then it's like, I'm back to being a dum-dum.
It's an interesting concept that could completely be its own movie. Like just that you can touch a book, you can get anything you need from the book and be an expert on it. Yeah, and it's weird that, I mean, that comes back a few times and very memorably in the ending fight scene.
Yes.
However, the ability to touch books and gain all the knowledge from the book gets less usage in the movie than the ability to talk to dogs. Like, the amount of amount of screen time dedicated to him having conversations with his dog is way higher, given that it's a skill that is vastly less useful.
All right, well, let's talk about the dogs then, and I think that's going to transition us into talking about the people, and we can just get the one person out of the way when we talk about it.
Great.
So let's talk about the dogs.
And then after we talk about the people, we can talk about the Lord. That's right, Don Cheadle. So he learns that he can, like the first morning after whatever, his dog is barking at him after he's been hit by the meteor, and we get subtitles of the dog saying, "Wake up, wake up," and then we can hear the dog's voice, and it sounds. Now, if I may.
Yeah.
I don't know this for sure. It sounds like they took Dan Castellaneta, voice of Homer Simpson, and stuffed him into a tin can. Because it's like, wake up! Wake up!
Jeff, wake up!
Yeah.
Wake up, Jeff!
Yeah.
Why, you little...
No! The red can.
But so yeah, so his dog is talking to him and giving him these orders, but it's all subtitled, but then we also hear the weird voice, and it's a strange choice, and on some level it's a little bit creepy. I really enjoy it though. I mean, for how kind of dumb of a superpower it is, being able to talk to your small white terrier dog, it's fun to like that. Honestly got my imagination going almost more than the books, because it was like I was watching that and it's like, oh my god, I can, off the top of my head, I can think of like 4 different dogs I would be desperate to have a conversation with. There's a lot of dogs in my life that mean a whole lot to me. I'm not a dog owner, but I'm a dog uncle to many dogs, and it's like I could talk to a dog longer than I could talk to Don Cheadle, and that's not a slam on Dog Cheadle.
Dog Cheadle.
Dog Cheadle.
Oh my god. Get Big Dog on the line. You're going to be making new t-shirts.
You're right. And I can use the money from that to buy a dog and name him or her Dog Cheadle. I'll just give you a second.
Speaking of which, someone just came in the room. You want to say something? No? Okay, you want to get down.
She just wants to
she was talking when she walked in, and then Bela, the ship cat, didn't want to say anything. She just wanted to make her presence known and then walk away.
She was like, I heard you guys were talking about talking to animals. Well, I have some thoughts on that, but you haven't been hit by a meteor that allows you to hear me. I also love...
Oh, my God.
Bela, the ship cat, suggests that she's of the same lineage as Skimbleshanks, the railway cat. And I think that's lovely.
Well, we haven't done her ancestry yet, so who knows? Maybe.
If you pay for DNA tests on a cat, I am going to smack you. But he has this conversation with his dog. His dog is telling him he wants breakfast. He goes to the cupboard and he opens it up, and a cupboard entirely full of cans of wet dog food. And he's like, do I beef, chicken, or fish? And I just would ask you, as a pet owner,
yes, I do have an entire cabinet full of wet cat food,
and multiple different flavors, right?
Yes, Bela particularly likes fish, so different kinds of fish. I have sardines, I have mackerel, I have tuna, I have whitefish, etc.
Wow. Okay. I kind of thought that was a joke, actually, that pet owners don't have multiple different flavors of pet food because pets are pets and they should just be happy to get whatever. But no, you actually have variety for her, huh?
I can't speak for other pet owners. I thought very early on, I've known so many other pet owners in my life that are just like, my cat won't eat anything but this specific kind of food. So very early on when I got her, I'm just like, right out the get-go, I'm going to teach you to like everything. And so now she has no problem eating anything.
So you fed her everything and just counted on her not to establish a preference. It's just you mix it up day by day. She's like, I have no idea what food is. Wow.
Yes, exactly. I don't do the same food twice a day.
Oh, wow.
Twice in 2 days.
No wonder she keeps barging into the recording studio and demanding meals, because it's like I'm on the edge of my seat. I don't know what I'm getting today. Is it whitefish? Is it sardines? I don't know. Do you think talking to dogs is a useful power?
In this movie, no. But Jeffrey isn't the only one who can speak to dogs in this movie.
Oh, I see. So you want to start talking about your favorite
just get
comedian.
Out of the way. I mean, we've waited an hour and 40 minutes to talk about it. We got to just do it. Robert Townsend, I don't know his relationship with Bill Cosby now, had a pretty close relationship with him. He filmed 2 of his comedy specials.
Sure.
Bill Cosby is in this movie as a favor to Robert Townsend, doing a $100 a day rate.
Wow.
And I don't know what the SAG rules are, if you can go by that day rate if you don't have dialogue, but I don't know if SAG covers making dog noises. Does it cover barking? Does barking count as dialogue?
Or did he just like move his mouth and someone looped in, someone else barked?
That's a good question.
Because Bill Cosby's character, he plays like a homeless guy who is the other person who picks up the remains of the meteor and takes it to his little homeless guy den. He never speaks in the movie. He's just sort of around. I mean, it sucks that Bill Cosby is in this because Bill Cosby is a horrible criminal. At the time, it's like, I'm not faulting this movie or Robert Townsend for putting this guy in it. At the time, it was a great thing to have him in the movie. It was probably huge for the movie's draw.
It's just one of those things that's like coincidentally unfortunate. Not only that he's in the movie, but how he's introduced, which is once we see him in his, as you called it, homeless den.
Yeah. Looks like a pretty nice place. He's got like coffee down there. He's got like a little couch.
Oh, another superpower is he's using X-ray vision to look up through the floor and watch somebody else's TV, and he's snapping his fingers to change the channel.
Yeah, kind of funny.
But he's also, in his X-ray vision, seeing a woman in her underwear while he's using his magic powers from the meteor to mix a drink on the other side of the room. And it's just like, okay. We got to deal with this. It's here. We could edit this out of the movie moving forward if we really wanted to.
And destroy our history and our heritage if we don't talk about these things. I mean, in my notes at the end of the movie, the bad guy throws a dumpster at Jefferson's dog, and the dog is very badly injured. And then you think the dog is going to die. I thought the dog was going to die, and then Bill Cosby walks over and kind of lays hands on the dog to heal it, and I'm just like,
he gives the rest of his powers to the dog to heal it, to save it. Truman, did that moment have me literally weeping for 10 minutes and hugging Bela to the point that she's like, "Are you okay? I've never seen you this distressed."
I wish I could talk human to you and ask if you're okay. You said that moment had me weeping for 10 minutes, and I'm like, of course, when he was a child, it's very upsetting for a child. Then you mentioned the name of your cat that you got like 2 years ago, and it's like, oh, no buddy.
It hit me so fucking hard. I the second time I watched it for this episode, I'm like, I can go to the bathroom right now. I cannot go back to that place I was in last time I watched this.
I mean, I was worried about the dog, but I was also like, yeah, it's a movie, you know. I mean, I'm fine. I was also busy writing down the note. I mean, this movie has created a set of circumstances where being touched by Bill Cosby is a good thing, and that's. I don't love it.
The symbolic act for me transcended the casting the fact that it was Bill Cosby.
Yeah, we don't have to talk too much about this guy. I just want to try and actually take the temperature. I didn't really grow up with Bill Cosby. My mom didn't like him, so it's like that wasn't a thing that was really on in our house or something. Was he a big part of your childhood? Were you watching his show?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Both of his shows, The Cosby Show, and then when he came back on as Cosby with Madeline Kahn and and then his comedy specials too. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, he was a big institution. His movies, Ghost Dad. Yeah, I mean, come on, I saw that in the theater.
Yeah, Leonard Part 6. You saw all 71 minutes of that in the theater.
Yeah, Bill Cosby was. Would I say institution? I'm not trying to retroactively build him up, but like.
I mean, that's not on you building him up.
No, but I mean, was he an institution in my life? He was a constant presence and source of entertainment. Would I call him an institution in my life? Maybe not, but always there.
Can we use Bill Cosby to segue into some thoughts about some maybe slightly capital H heavier things?
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Do you want to talk about this dog scene somewhere?
I mean, no, I had something even heavier than a fictional dog fake almost dying in a movie that isn't real. Well, the movie's real. The events in the movie are not real. Just wanted to clarify that for people. Meteor Man, not a true story.
Do we know that?
I guess we don't.
Don't give up hope or belief in Meteor Man, Truman.
You're right. No, we all have to clap if we believe in Meteor Man, and then he will be real. So I feel like in some ways, this movie, I feel like, kind of echoes some public comments that Bill Cosby has made in the past that were sort of controversial, and I'm not here to, take the movie down for that. I just think it's interesting the way in which it sort of rhymes. So okay, bear with me. Go with me on this journey.
I will.
Lane.
I am.
Okay.
I will.
In 2004, Bill Cosby gave a speech for the 50th anniversary of Brown versus the Board of Education. This speech is now commonly known as the Pound Cake speech. And in it, Bill Cosby really took the black community to task for basically a lack of personal responsibility. And he said a whole lot of stuff about, You know, the reason that bad things are happening in the black community is not because of structural racism. It's because black people haven't got their shit together. And he's talking a lot about single-parent households and rap music and kids dropping out of school and black people giving their kids traditional African names. And he's blaming all of this stuff on that. Those ideas are bullshit. I just want to say that's, Bill Cosby, very wrong about that. One of many bad things Bill Cosby has done. There's a moment in this movie, kind of like late in the movie, where Meteor Man has kind of rallied his community. They've all come together, and then after the Golden Lords come back and kind of do a counterattack and they trash the whole neighborhood, he walks in on a community meeting where all the members of the community are talking about, we need to send Meteor Man away. If we get rid of Meteor Man, maybe we can make a deal with the gangs, and the gangs won't attack us, and we can, like, deal with them. And Meteor Man makes this speech to them saying, quote, how can we stop the crime and the gangs if we pretend that we don't see them? Everybody complains about the police. They aren't perfect. But how can you complain when you do nothing? And then, it's kind of, he takes this attitude towards them of, it's on us, it's about personal accountability, like, we need to straighten our shit out, and it's on us. And I just thought it was interesting having Bill Cosby in this movie, that there are points in this movie where Meteor Man kind of echoes some of those sentiments about we need to get our shit together to do it.
Yeah. I think and I'm not trying to rise to the defense of this movie, also acknowledge that I don't have the experience to speak about this expertly. That said, Bill Cosby is laying it at the feet of very specific things, where this movie is not like, at no point is it saying rap music is the problem. It's not saying
rappers are in the movie.
It's not dismissing or ignoring the idea of systemic racism.
Yes.
It has if anything, it's taking a incredibly specific situation and broadening it to a wider audience.
Yes.
And in that act is making it seem like it's all of our fault rather than the systemic fault, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, that totally does make sense. I'm not criticizing the movie for that being in there. I think that the point that the movie is trying to I think that the movie is doing a good job of making a case about, yes, there's a role for personal accountability and us getting our shit together that is good. I think Bill Cosby then took that to a much worse degree many years later when he made that same point. I feel like it's just sort of like Meteor Man is kind of articulating ideas about coming together, building community, and collective action in a way that I think Bill Cosby might have been trying to, but was too much of an asshole to get through in an effective way.
Nightmare monster.
Yeah, too much of a rich guy. Yeah.
Let's talk about this for a second, because there's not a lot, but I saw some of the criticism, the critics of the time, calling this movie out for having a muddled message in that regard. And I try to engage with both the movie and the criticism on their own level, and this is where I've kind of fallen on it right now, which is, I think the movie does a good job of using the superhero trope as it takes, every single person has the power to make change.
Yes.
And that when you see one person try to make a change, then it can positively impact your immediate community.
Yes.
And if everyone in that community took that step to make that change, then you could actually enact positive change in the world.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think that's important when you look at when he loses his powers.
Yes.
And that he still goes out there, and that people have shame that they don't have his courage that he has found throughout the movie. And then still being inspired by him doing that, step up. Yes. And the whole community does start to fight back, and you see the crime lords can't, the Golden Lords, can't set root in here if we don't allow it to.
Yeah.
I don't know how real that is, but the idealism behind it is aspirational, and I applaud the like attempt at that.
Yeah, no, I do too, and I think this is why I enjoyed this movie so much in a way that I just have a hard time plugging into a lot of superhero movies, because I find that, you know, most superhero movies are stories about the individual and the triumph of the individual over, you know, over evil or whatever, and I don't know, and this kind of concept of, you know, something like Batman, where it's like, how's Batman gonna fix the city? Well, this one rich guy is going to punch bad people a lot, and punching enough bad people, this one guy doing it fixes everything. And what I thought was so really genuinely beautiful about Meteor Man is how much of what he's doing is about collective action, inspiring people to get involved with their community. You know, you mentioned the community meetings. You know, in the first scene, it's very sparsely attended when he goes to one, but then once he's Meteor Man, and also there's some talk about Meteor Man having a secret identity, but then his parents basically tell everyone in the neighborhood he's Meteor Man.
and his outfit literally covers every inch of his body but his face.
I know. His mom makes a whole joke about how no one must know the secret identity of Meteor Man, and then she designs a costume for him that makes very clear who Meteor Man is. It is so adorable how proud his parents are of him, and how excited. Like, he doesn't want to do superhero shit, and they're like, no, you're Meteor Man, son. Go for it.
There's a whole, right after the drive-by shooting scene, actually, there's a whole montage of, like, trying on different there's like a mall shopping, like the equivalent of a Clueless, let's go to the mall and buy different outfits montage of him trying on different costumes in this.
It's great. It's really good. A lot of potential Halloween costume ideas, by the way. It's too bad you all are listening to this after Halloween, because you could get this movie from the library and get some ideas. But at the later community meetings, once he's Meteor Man and he's been cleaning up the neighborhoods, the house is packed. Everybody's there. Everybody's getting involved and working together. And I feel like you just don't see as much of that in other superhero movies. It's all about this one guy is gonna solve everything. And here it's Meteor Man makes everybody want to get involved and gives everybody hope for their community. And it's a really unique thing to see in a movie, and it really gives a lot of weight to the power of just ordinary people coming together.
In a way, I mean, it makes that whole Batman thing, you know, this town needs a symbol, like, it makes that feel hollow to me, because it's like, okay, a symbol for what? The symbol to know that they're safe because you're prowling the streets? Or like fucking Meteor Man, which is like, the town needs a symbol of aspiration. They need something to inspire them to take action themselves, not, I'm good because Batman's gonna, you know, swoop down in this alleyway to protect me, you know, from a jewel thief.
Yeah, I mean, and I think the community garden is such a great representation of that, because after this first community meeting where he's got his powers, his parents have told everybody, and the whole community is like really excited. By the way, we haven't talked about James Earl Jones yet, but in this scene, he's sitting there at the front of the room, and the head of the community board is telling him all these, you know, we want you to patrol 3 times a week. We're going to put a second phone line in your house so we can call you on the Meteor phone.
That gave me anxiety, by the way. People just like assuming my schedule. I'm like,
what if I have stuff to do? What if I have D&D that night? I can't protect your community then. But the whole time they're telling him all these things, James Earl Jones is just right over his shoulder behind him, just like popping over either side, like grinning ear to ear, just being so clownish. It's very funny. But they tell him, you know, we want you to do all this. And he doesn't want to. You hear some weirdly 80-yard line about, like, they don't even know I don't want to be Meteor Man. But then he's walking down the streets and he sees the Golden Lords have beaten someone. They're loading this old lady who's been beaten into a ambulance, and James Earl Jones is there telling the police, oh, I didn't see who did it. And then the police leave, and he turns to Jefferson, Meteor Man, and he's like, I saw the whole thing. And he just, like, breaks down crying. Like, he was too scared to say who did it. And he's like, this is the moment of shame and that you were talking about seeing on screen, and that's what motivates. But that's what motivates then him to, like, okay, I'm going to be Meteor Man.
Yeah, and let's circle back to some of the heavier stuff, because there's more to talk about it when we get to the end. But one thing I don't think we've really done a good job of yet is talking about him assuming the role of Meteor Man. We get a kind of, not a montage so much as like just a sequence of these different interstitials where he's, there's a gang shootout with the cops, and he, flies down in the center of it, and literally the Bloods and the Crips, they are credited as such on IMDb, are fighting side by side with the cops.
Yes.
And Meteor Man, slowly, drops down between the two of them in a kind of bad echo of there's good people on both sides. Sort of
he literally says both sides have a point here or something like that.
Yeah, he gets them both to put their guns on the ground. And, I'm willing to forgive the movie because it's such a, kind-hearted gesture of, this isn't meant to show the systemic, what's the word I'm looking for?
Injustice of the
procedural,
police.
breakdown of systemic walls. It's to, this is a representative moment. This is just supposed to be a symbolic, this is what Meteor Man can represent in this community.
Here's my problem with the scene, granting you that.
There's plenty of problems with it.
Later in the movie, this whole thing has been made that he has forged an alliance between the Bloods and the Crips, the two big street gangs. And in the end, the united gangs, led by their leaders, Cypress Hill and, what is the other?
Naughty by Nature.
And Naughty by Nature in a cameo role. Yeah. They jump a car through a semi-truck to come in for their cameo, which is...
so great. It's awesome.
If you ever want me to make a cameo in your movie, since I'm such a famous podcaster, I will only do it if I can jump a car through a truck. But this whole thing is that Meteor Man has brokered this truce. But what we see is, he comes in and the Bloods and Crips together are in a shootout with the cops, and he's like, no, talk to each other, come together.
A shootout with the cops over the distance of 12 feet.
I know. They are point blank with this stuff. But he convinces them to, and both the cops and the gang members are going yeah, you're right. We got to talk to each other. We got to hash this out. And it's it would be one thing if it was the Bloods fighting the Crips and he convinces them, stop fighting each other, come together, work for your community. That beat makes sense. It's the police and the gang members don't have a misunderstanding of ideology. It's you're shooting at the police, and the police's job is to arrest people. I'm not a back the blue guy. Policing is broken, but this is not a misunderstanding. The police should be arresting people who are shooting at them. That's not good. That's not a thing that a conversation solves. They've broken a pretty important law there.
Yeah, but I also think that's kind of something that is lost to the time in which it was made, that specific moment in which it was made.
Yeah.
That, it played differently in 93 than it does in 2025.
The discussion about policing is very different now than it was then. Crime rates were much higher, and there was a much broader call, including from leaders in black communities, for more cops on the street and more punitive criminal justice laws. It's a different thing.
And I just acknowledge, too, again, as I always do, I'm not an expert on this. I'm sure it touches on more bigger things and themes that, I'm not even aware of. So
yeah. For listeners who are new to the show, Landon and I are both white, just FYI, in case you didn't guess. But
I just want to acknowledge, there's a lot of stuff going on here that, I think would hit different audiences way different than it hits me. As a 12-year-old and as a 43-year-old.
Yeah, although it is, again, it is really cool that this movie that is very much centered on, Black America, the Black experience, meant so much to you from a very early age and shaped you so much. I mean, that's really cool. Across, across racial lines, this movie means something.
There's so many other moments in this sequence when he is becoming Meteor Man, they're played broadly. I'm trying to think of some others, the shootout one. Oh, the Bismarcky Crack Den one.
Yes, Bismarcky Crack Den is the name of my trivia team.
He goes into one of the crack houses, and his I love that this is one of the hokey things, but I think he knows it's hokey. Jeffrey is not a cool guy.
No.
And so when he becomes a superhero, it's not like he has a superpower that makes him cool. That's not one of the side effects of being hit by a meteor. He comes in and is trying out these one-liners, and he just busts down the door, says a one-liner that's really hokey, and then blows a bunch of crack cocaine all over the workers there.
He says, "Drug dealer people, Meteor Man is in town," and then
drug dealer people.
I love it. I love drug dealer people. But yeah, he blows the crack all over them, and then when the other Golden Lords get there, they're like, "What happened?" And Biz Markie and all of his other dudes are all covered in crack and super high, and they just start laughing.
Also, as a kid, I was very confused because all of the people working at these tables are in their underwear.
Oh my god!
And I'm like, wait a minute, hold on. Is Meteor Man using his X-ray vision on these? No, they're just people in their underwear.
There's so much underwear in this movie. Maybe we have to talk about the amount of this is the most underwear movie we've ever watched. I have thoughts that we probably don't have time for in this episode. So much underwear. Okay. I do love though that Robert Townsend is making this kind of superhero action movie for, targeted at all audiences, family things, and he's like, but no, we're going to be realistic to the fact that the employees in crack dens work in their underwear or naked so that the drug dealers can be sure they're not stealing any crack. Like, it's this piece of very, real accurate detail that it's like, yeah, I'd see that on Narcos. I just wasn't expecting to see it in this movie.
Okay, we got to start talking about the community and get to the end of this movie.
He has done a bunch of stuff to clean up the town. He's gone through this kind of sequence of the shootout and the drug den and a few other things. And by this point, his presence is known. And there's this scene of him walking around this vacant lot, and we're hearing voiceover of some radio call-in show where people from the community are voicing their different opinions about Meteor Man. Some people are saying he's good, some people are saying he's bad, whatever. And he's just sort of pondering these things, shoving cars aside. He plants the garden, has it rain on the garden, it grows all this food, and then the next day it's news coverage of it where it's like, it's this community garden where people can get as much food as they need for free. That scene kind of made me emotional, because it's really just like, it's the thing of like, I have not seen a superhero movie that comes even this level of close to trying to point out, yeah, there's structural systemic stuff going on in a community where there's crime, where it's like, if you provide for people's needs, the community gets better. It's not just about punching the bad guys. It's a hero coming in and directly providing for needs, so okay, they don't have to worry about food. They can get healthy food in their neighborhood.
You hit on one of the things that I think makes me love this movie, which is a hero it doesn't just vanquish a villain. A hero enriches their community.
Yes.
It enriches the world for the better.
Yes. At
the risk of extending this longer, I love comic books. I've been reading comic books forever.
Yeah.
I've never been much of a fan of Superman.
Sure.
Historically.
Yeah. Have you heard the good news about the new Superman movie, though?
Well, that's the thing. Historically, I've been more historically I've been more Marvel, but then I switched to DC, and of the DC that I read growing up, it was mostly Batman. But something has happened in the last 10 years where there's just a kind of rotten underbelly to the idea of Batman.
Yeah.
That it's 100% has to do with the kind of fan culture around Batman as well, and
Nolan ruined
Joker specifically.
Yeah.
But I've never liked Superman until recently. And I started appreciating Superman more for this very reason.
Yeah.
Is that I was always like, oh, he's just, a big Boy Scout. He has so many powers. It's not interesting to watch him fight because he can't be taken down. He can't be defeated, whatever. But the fact that his whole thing is sticking up for this ideal.
Yeah.
Suddenly, I matured into the idea of it. And the new movie doesn't do this, but there was something, I can't remember what it was, in the most recent James Gunn movie, where it put a thought experiment in my mind, which is Superman can move incredibly fast. I mean, that's one of his superpowers, super speed.
Yeah.
Right? He can go so fast he can turn the Earth backwards on its axis, if you take the first movie for canon. Anyway, if he can go that fast and you can acclimate to going that fast in life, then his choice as Clark Kent to walk normally takes a monumental effort to maintain his connection with humanity.
Yeah.
And that he needs that in order to maintain his moral compass and understanding for why he loves the earth that he's on. Like that, yeah, I don't know why I went on this tangent about Superman, but it touches on the same thing in this movie where it's just like, I'm sick of like this sicko villain shit and the brooding dark hero having to be as fucked up as the villain. Like, I've just hit a point in this world that we live in where a movie like Meteor Man, where the heroism isn't about taking down a supervillain, it's about lifting up a community, just really hit me on such a DNA level.
It is. I think so much of it is about the fact that we live in a country that is ruled by supervillains right now, and that
yes,
everything
Arkham Asylum is running amok.
Just everything is gross right now, and I think, I never really responded to superheroes at all. I was especially not really into Superman for the same reason. Yeah, it's like, okay, whatever. It's a source of pure good, whatever. But I think in a time when things are so dark, I mean, I guess maybe I'm coming around to this notion of people need a symbol, but I responded so strongly to the Superman movie, even really not being into that character, because, yeah, it's just about, like, what if one person was just a good person? What if there was just a really good person in the world who cared about people and wanted to make things better? Right now, that is a very attractive thing, and I think that, especially watching a movie like Meteor Man right now, it helps me to see through, or overlook the movie's faults. And again, we may not even talk about them, but there's a lot of ways this movie is kind of bad. But like, there's a lot of stuff that is so good about it that kind of makes up for that is so sweet. It wears its heart on its sleeve. It is so relentlessly earnest. That I don't know. It's hard not to like this movie and to feel affection for it.
Even earnest movies aren't this earnest.
We just can't use that word on this show.
Listen, man. One of my all-time Letterboxd reviews is for Ernest Scared Stupid, in which I say, this movie made me who I am.
Yeah.
After watching this movie today for this episode, I think I could say the exact same thing about Meteor Man.
Yeah.
So this movie and Ernest share something in common.
Your Letterboxd review of Meteor Man is just, this is the importance of being earnest. So let's do you have more that you want to say about the community and the way the community comes together? We still haven't talked about James Earl Jones.
That's what I was going to go into, is like, and maybe we could just use James Earl Jones to shorthand the community, because I think his beats kind of represent the whole, even though we do get shots of the whole. James Earl Jones is such an interesting character in this movie.
My experience with James Earl Jones on screen before this movie is basically like, he's Mufasa, so he's the literal Lion King, voice of Darth Vader, pretty like high up character. The King in Coming to America, the guy in the guy in Field of Dreams, who's like the equivalent of J.D. Salinger, and then to see him in this playing this goofy dork who is obsessed with jazz music and who wears multiple wigs.
You noticed?
Over the course of the movie.
Truman, you've grown.
In the first scene, Jefferson goes downstairs and he talks to his neighbor, James Earl Jones, and James Earl Jones turns to face him and he has this awful bowl cut hairdo. And he's like, hey, what do you think? And he's like making all these faces. And Jefferson is like trying to hide how much he hates it. And I'm just thinking like, wow, man, James Earl Jones has a crazy haircut. What is going on with this? And then James Earl Jones goes, wait, let me try something else. And then he reaches away, grabs something, and the next shot of him, he's got hair parted on the side. And it's just like, wait, what? Wait. Wigs. He's putting on different wigs. And in every scene, he's wearing a different kind of wig.
Mostly, yeah. He does favor one kind of high top Kid and Play style wig.
It's a good wig. It's my favorite.
Multiple times throughout this. And it's just like, James Earl Jones was in his 50s by the time he made this movie. And he's bouncing around, as I said earlier, like a little puppy dog.
What?
I don't know if there's something like wrong with him.
No.
He's got such a good heart, but he's a hermit. He's really into jazz.
Been into jazz.
His jazz record collection. But he's also like, so he's got these wigs. He tries really hard to fit in with the youth.
Yeah.
And tries to hit on the honeys. And it's a character that in the hands of anyone else would have been like, what the fuck is going on with this obnoxious character? But the weirdness of it being played by one of the person that, if you looked up the definition of gravitas, James Earl Jones would be there. The voice of fucking CNN.
Yes. The voice of CNN is like struggling and failing to rap at one point. He's doing a better job of it than Marcy X, but it's still pretty bad.
It's baffling and fascinating, and
he's good at it.
The biggest compliment that I can give to James Earl Jones is all of that stuff makes him look like a cartoon character.
Yep.
But it does not detract from these moments of just heart-wrenching realism.
Yes.
When Jefferson starts to lose his powers. We didn't talk about that. And I'm not going to go into a long context. Apparently, if he doesn't sleep long enough, his powers start to drain.
Same.
So, likewise.
Yeah, feel it, man.
So there gets to this point when he doesn't really have his powers anymore. And he loses his powers right when the Golden Lords are making their big, play on the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And they call out, Meteor Man! It's my favorite line. Something that I remembered for forever and still reference.
Your favorite line in Meteor Man is Meteor Man. Wow.
Could I get Meteor Man?
The Meteor Man is Mark Zuckerberg, and you don't want to get him.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. But, okay, so at that point in the film, Jefferson goes out despite not having his superpowers.
Because he's just
and
believes in the cause.
We had seen the last of the community hall scenes where they're saying we got to ask him to leave, and Jefferson's there and overhears all of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, you don't have to ask me to go, and I don't want to rehash everything you already covered.
Yeah.
But in those moments when he's in that community hall, there are these kind of cutaway shots that these are the shots that I was talking about could be lifted and put into like the most prestige drama there is, of just random community members like looking like not put in their place, but just like, oh, fuck. I didn't know that he would overhear that, and I feel ashamed of myself for having been part of this.
Yeah.
And then, so when he's getting called out by the Golden Lords, there's this long sequence of this dramatic music, and you see Jeffrey in his apartment go down the stairs. And as he's walking down the stairs of this apartment building where everyone lives, he's walking by these doorways. And right on the inside of the doorways is, the community who are embarrassed.
Yeah.
They are like, I can't believe he's doing this, and I don't have the courage to do this. And James Earl Jones is one of these people. And he goes down there. You just see the shame on James Earl Jones's face while he's wearing this fucking ridiculous wig.
Yeah.
Jeffrey gets his ass beat. And looks like he's, out of commission. And in this moment, James Earl Jones, tears flowing down his face.
He's still sitting in his apartment. He's been listening to this happening and not doing anything.
He smacks his hand on top of his head, grabs the wig, and just tears it off, and he's like, motherfucker, why am I letting this happen?
Yeah.
And it is heart-wrenching.
He's very emotional. In a movie about a guy who talks to his dog in who talks back in a Homer Simpson voice.
The Roy Fegan, the head of the Golden Lords, then pulls his gun out and is going to execute Jeffrey.
Yeah, gun to his head.
And in this moment, it's like it's all over, but he's facing his own death, looking at the barrel of this gun. And then suddenly something hits the wrist of Roy Fegan, and he drops the gun, and you just hear this little tinkle on the score as Roy Fegan looks at the ground. Next to the gun is this broken antique jazz record that was coveted by James Earl Jones.
Yeah.
It breaks me every fucking time. I cannot hold my shit together at that moment.
Because we then get this shot of James Earl Jones standing in the window, and he's like thrown this record at him, and then as the fight progresses, he's thrown it's like the Records of Chiefs said he'll never part with the most important thing to him, and it's finally like, I'm standing up, I'm making a sacrifice for my community. And
this is more important to me.
And the look on his face, like after he's thrown the thing, Meteor Man looks up at him, and James Earl Jones is there, and he has this look of determination where it's like he's kind of overcome the cowardice that he was dealing with, and like this moment that passes between them. It's a very emotional movie. It really it has a lot of punch.
So there's that moment that leads us into the that moment gets me oh fuck, I can't handle these emotions.
Is that then at the Oscars, is that your stand up and cheer moment? Is that I'm
not gonna lie, Truman, it fucking is.
Yeah.
It just riles me in a way that's like, fuck yeah. No, actually that's not the moment. The moment's coming up. But so I just want to say that moment primes me for the moment after the whole fight and the Golden Lords are defeated and the dog has been crushed by this dumpster. I don't want to go into this much because it might make me cry.
Oh man.
Yeah, it will. What kills me is famed monster Bill Cosby gives up the remaining superpower he has. It's this final moment of compassion that the community has for its weakest members.
Yeah.
The dog is representing this defenseless thing that is injured, and there is no benefit to the community to save this thing. It's not contributing, but it's looking out for the youngest creatures that can't look out for themselves. And he is willing to give up the remaining superpowers he has to heal this dog by, it has a broken rib, it's punctured its internal organs, and he would rather be without superpowers than watch this animal suffer.
Yeah.
So the 1-2 punch of James Earl Jones throwing his record and that moment just makes me weep harder than most movies do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really saying something when the content on screen is powerful and affecting enough that you kind of can look past maybe who one of the actors is and what we all know about him. The ending has this fight scene goes on for quite some time, and there's a lot of trading blows and everything. And there's a really funny bit where Bill Cosby has dropped his meteor chunk, and the head bad guy has touched it as well. So now he has Meteor Man powers too, and he throws Meteor Man through a bookmobile, and so he comes flying out the back end in this cascade of books, and then he touches a how to do kung fu book and briefly knows kung fu and is doing some Bruce Lee noises that maybe aren't so great, but he's doing all this kung fu, and then he 30 seconds later loses it, and then both he and the bad guy grab the book that they think is the kung fu book, but it's actually a book about how to be a runway model, and then they just have this 30-second long catwalk, it's like the Zoolander walk-off scene basically.
It's something that 100% has stuck with me since I watched it originally, and I was worried about it going into it. Now I'm like, oh, is this gonna be a little homophobic?
It turns into a slap fight at one point that's kind of like, I think you're going in the wrong direction, but then they forget everything they knew and it just turns into a regular fight again.
But to me, the slap fight was funny. I don't think that it was I don't think it was veering in the wrong direction. It was more the reaction from the people watching them that I'm like,
they're
Eddie Griffin going, thank God that's over.
Yeah.
Anyway, I found that to be really funny, and brings me to my point about Roy Fegan, the villain here.
Yeah.
Which is, I did the thought experiment of casting Don Cheadle in this role and switching Goldilocks with Roy Fegan here, and I don't think the movie works. I think Don Cheadle needs to be in the position he's in to enact the threat without representing, you couldn't have Don Cheadle's real threat
be
in this final boss scene where he's acting like a runway model.
Yeah.
You need a cartoonier villain.
Yeah.
And I think Roy Fegan plays this role so well to be threatening, to make a Slinky seem fucking sexy and cool and a little threatening.
Sexy, you say?
Well, it's gold, man.
Okay, all right. Okay, hey man, I'm not yucking anybody's yum. Landon's friends at Mattel are gonna send him a whole box of Slinkies after this for this product placement.
I'm sure Bela would love to play with a few. But you can go from that. You can go from a villain that walks around with a tiger in its posse to yelling Meteor Man. Like Don Cheadle's not gonna do that. You need someone that can bring that kind of cartoony villainy to it without sacrificing the actual threat.
Sure. I'll grant you that. I'm happy for every little bit of Don Cheadle I get, and also the fact that Don Cheadle, as the second banana, gets to play all these scenes where he has tried to kill Meteor Man and is confused about why it didn't work and is trying to explain to his boss what's going on. That gives him a lot of range to play with. I still just would like it if... I don't know, I'd like it if Don Cheadle got cast as the bad guy in more movies so we could really just have big scenery-chewing evil performances, because he's great.
Devil in a Blue Dress. Watch some of his early work.
I guess so. I guess I'll go back to it. I know he also is the voice of the bad guy in Space Jam 2, but I'm not watching it.
Yeah, so let me tell you my stand-up and cheer moment.
Okay.
Is when they're in this battle, and it is very much like after the record is thrown, all of the community starts to stand up, and there's like hand-to-hand combat, essentially.
They've all got brooms that they're hitting them with. They're literally cleaning up their neighborhood.
Yes, throwing potatoes at people.
Yeah.
Using anything they can to fight back. There's a swashbuckling sword fight sequence with lead pipes, which is kind of fun.
Yeah, that's neat.
But when the meteor fragment gets hit and starts to roll beneath the feet of everybody, it rolls right next to Robert Townsend, and in a way like plays into this idea, the superhero idea and trope of destiny, and like it was meant for him. He's meant to be Meteor Man. He's stepping into the role that he has denied for so long. It's all part of that hero trope stuff. But at the same time, as you said, Roy Fegan sees it. He dives for it or they both dive for it at the same time, and there's this big like white flash, and it turns everyone the image negative for a moment, and then you come back and you see Roy Fegan pressed up against the side of a van, and you just hear this as he pulls himself, like unsticks himself, and you're like, oh shit, he's got superpowers too.
Yeah,
it's played for this like huge heightened moment. And he's able to then kick the shit out of Jeffrey more because Jeffrey also has the superpowers back.
Yeah.
And there's a moment when he throws Meteor Man after, like, you think all is lost. The community has stood up for themselves, and, even with everyone fighting together, Meteor Man still can't win. The community still can't win. He throws Meteor Man over the roofs, and he's like, does this display of power, telling the Golden Lords, shoot me, and he does this like little fancy butt wiggle, and
Don Cheadle could do that.
Don Cheadle now could do that.
He could do it anytime. He could make it work.
Fair. You're right. He's got the talent.
Don't talk about my friend Don Cheadle that way.
What the moment that like gets me to stand up and cheer is like you're like, all hope is lost. You really feel that screenplay guru book moment here.
Yeah.
And there's this, again, it's hokey, but he's like, not so fast. You just hear this line from off screen, and Roy Fegan looks up, and the camera pans up to the rooftops, and Jeffrey has put the suit back on.
Yeah.
And he's standing there as Meteor Man. And I'm like, fuck yeah. That's the moment where I'm like, I want to stand up and cheer. It just really, I don't know. It's a moment that perfectly embodies someone accepting their fate and accepting who they are supposed to be, or meant to be, and who they've been denying themselves this entire time.
Yeah. Yeah, it is a beautiful and a triumphant moment when that happens, that he's chosen this role for himself that previously the suit was kind of forced upon him, or he felt pressured into. It's like now he's doing it because he wants to. Yeah.
And then it very quickly wraps up from there.
They capture the bad guys, and the big evil drug kingpin shows up, but then all the Bloods and the Crips are all along the rooftops with guns pointed at them, and the Kingpin's like, maybe we're gonna go on a vacation, and they try to leave, but then the cops arrive and arrest them all, and then freeze frame ending on Meteor Man smiling.
We're gonna talk a lot about Frank Gorshin next week, I think, as Mr. Byers. And we didn't even talk about the cameos of Luther Vandross and Sinbad. Like, I could talk about this movie, I think, for hours and hours and hours on end, but we have to end it somewhere.
Yes.
And I think we've encapsulated the vibe of the movie and the basic beats of the movie. So let me just ask you, why do you think this was forgotten?
I think this movie was forgotten because it is too hard to pin down. It is really a roller coaster tonally, and I mean, we've kind of we've talked up the parts of this movie that are really good, and there's a lot of this movie that is like hokey and slapsticky, and it is very difficult to navigate the kind of tonal change from Meteor Man being grossed out because he can see through clothes and he's talking to a really old nurse, and it's like a 2-minute scene of him being grossed out and not wanting to look at her, to then like really heavy concepts of inner city violence and shame and things like this. And I think just it's a difficult chasm to tonally, it's a difficult chasm to kind of straddle, and the movie doesn't always do a great job of it, and I think audiences didn't necessarily know how to react to this. And I think and look at all the other movies that were out in theaters. I mean, I enjoyed watching this movie quite a lot. It's not a better movie than The Fugitive. It's not a better movie than Jurassic Park. I'm sorry, Landon. Those are my beliefs.
I'm not gonna fault you for that. I don't think it's a better movie than either of those movies, or even I don't even know that I like it better than Jurassic Park. I love this movie, but I mean, you're not going toe to toe with a T-Rex.
Yeah.
Although I would like to see the sequel where Meteor Man literally fights a T-Rex.
Yeah, and maybe Tammy is there too, because Tammy had an encounter with a T-Rex.
Yeah, and I have some information about the marketing of this movie that we'll go into in our trailer game conversation next week. So there is I think a marketing reason why this wasn't remembered.
Mm-hmm.
And not to end this episode on a bummer, but like, because of the box office, and because of like there's the whole canon system, like you're not going to find a lot of black culture films outside of Spike Lee that are canonized, especially urban cinema.
Yeah.
So that's an unfortunate, stupid thing, that even if this movie wasn't, didn't have its faults, but if it was a perfect superhero movie, I think it would still face an uphill battle for the canonizers.
Sure.
So yeah, you add to it that it's not a super cohesive film, and there's just, and the lack of availability. Like, I think there might be a resurgence of popularity for this film if people could see this now.
Yeah, I absolutely think so.
So, like, it just goes to show the importance of accessibility to, a lot of films, and not just relying solely on curation.
Yeah.
So that brings us to the verdict, and, I'm not confused on mine. Where do you fall on this? Should we send this back to modern memory, or leave it here floating in 1993?
Wait, no, we should absolutely send this back to modern memory. The modern world needs Meteor Man. Are you Landon pumping his fist? Are you surprised, Landon? You've heard how I've been talking about this thing. The world needs Meteor Man now more than ever. I cannot stress enough, if you seek this movie out, like there's a lot of stuff in it that's dumb and weird, but it's in a fun way. It's enjoyable, and the movie has a lot of moments in it that you just are so very different from what you get in a typical superhero movie, and it's a really I think in so many ways it's a fun portrait of a time and a place, and also a group of people who were very famous and relevant at that time and in that place.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
What about you?
Yeah, Leave It Forgotten.
Yeah, I don't care. It's dumb bullshit.
Leave It Forgotten because I want it all.
Yeah.
I am happy to add this to my all-time favorite films list. I mean, like, not greatest films, but all-time favorite films.
Yeah.
This really, it has lived on in my brain over the years. I'm now happy to be able to say that this is one of my favorites.
Oh. I'm so glad that this podcast could give you a platform to talk about your love for Meteor Man and to share it with me, because this movie's fun. I had a really good time with this movie.
Well, there was a period in my life where I was going through all of the films of my adolescence and childhood and like rehashing and living in those, and I think it was because it wasn't accessible that I never re-arrived at Meteor Man.
Mm-hmm.
So like there was a little trepidation of going and like, oh, this is just going to be a time capsule thing. And yeah, so like even being divorced from that nostalgic moment of my life, it makes me happy to think that this movie stands on its own.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, until next week when we wrap up some odds and ends about Meteor Man, the way that Meteor Man wraps up the Baby Lords with their pants.
Oh boy.
What?
More, for a robust discussion of all the underwear content in Meteor Man.
Join us next week. But until then, for Truman Caps, I've been Landon Solano.
And for Landon Solano, I've been Truman Caps.
Movie Memory Machine is part of the Gruntwork Podcast Network. Join our Patreon at patreon.com/gruntworkpod to keep the machine running. Theme song by Porky's Groove Machine. Rate us on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen. For more information on today's show, visit MovieMemoryMachine.com.